What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here live on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the Sneider himself, Jeff Sneider. How are you, Jeff?
Hello, Johnny boy. What's up, dude?
What's up, dude? I can barely see, so if you guys catch me blinking a lot through this episode, I got my eyes dilated. I had to go in for cataract pre-op surgery, so they had to look at everything, and it was like 4 hours at this place, so I am barely standing. I shoved down a couple of tacos just to be able to make it through the show, but I'm excited to do this with you, Jeff, because we got so much to get in here today and so much to happen that's going on in the world of entertainment. And you all remember, Streamlabs super chats are open. Send in your love, send in your support. I already see 15 super chats. That's awesome. It's a great way to start the show. Let's keep it going because we got a lot going on here today. Jeff, how are you? How was your week? How are you today? How are things?
Well, I wish my eyes were dilated. I got to stare at you for the next 2 hours.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
It's been a good week, long week. I've been detoxing. You guys, look at this. Look at the whites.
Wow.
Look at the whites.
Look at that.
Yeah, you guys are seeing me in rare form today, so I'll try to deliver.
I heard you've been having lunches. You've been hanging around town. People are.
I don't do lunch anymore.
Oh, you don't do lunches?
Oh no, I'm busy during the day. I can't do lunch. It's breakfast or dinner for me. It's breakfast or dinner.
Gotcha. Or late night drinks. I appreciate that.
That. I hit some birthday parties this weekend and
nice.
Got some information.
Ooh, good little plug there. But yeah, we're going to get into things here, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us right off the bat. We got so much to jump into, so we're not going to waste any time, though. Let's get into our first conversation. And look, as I said, I was 4 hours there, so I'm probably not going to have pictures for all our stories. We're just going to do our stories. And if anybody who's enterprising wants to write down time codes as we go along and maybe DM them to me or message them to me, I would appreciate it. But anyway, let's get into the first story here. Jeff, you wanted to open the show with this, and that is Jason Bourne's franchise rights are apparently being shopped right now as the rights are leaving Universal. And of course, this is the one of the franchises that really made Matt Damon a global superstar. So I'm reading this now as I start the show. I had no idea this was happening. So what's your thoughts on this, Jeff? WME is shopping the rights of the Spy franchise and the rest of the Robert Ludlum library on behalf of the late author's estate. Why would Universal let this go? What is going on here?
Well, they haven't necessarily let it go.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, yes, it's being shopped, but do I think that this franchise could wind up really, back at Universal? Back at Universal? Yes, I do.
Okay.
So it's not a guarantee that it's going to wind up at a streaming service, but it's also like the franchise was very much of a certain time, right? It was a post 9/11 thing.
For sure.
And I just don't know how that translates to today. I feel like, without Matt, I was never a huge Bourne guy. Obviously the action is incredible, right? Especially what Greengrass did in those sequels. But I never liked the story. I'm not a fan of amnesia stories. I thought the whole mythology and all that stuff was kind of stupid. So it's like, well, if you take Matt Damon away from this, which I think is to be expected, probably, I think they'd probably reboot. A
little long in the tooth.
What do you have? This is kind of like a mid-tier IP, in my opinion, without Matt Damon.
It's an interesting point. Yeah, I mean, you look at how great he was in this series. I mean, he owned this series, Matt Damon, and he got into this when he was young, still building his name. I think Talented Mr. Ripley was around this time as well, and of course, they made allusions to it in the Ocean's 13 movie, which was a really funny sequence. So this has been synonymous with Matt Damon, and a lot of people were upset when Jeremy Renner played him in that Bourne Legacy, I think is what it's called, film, and they were clamoring for Damon, but then Damon came back, and that wasn't a good Bourne installment overall. It's decent, just wasn't up to the par that we had seen before. So now let's go. So Jeff, do you think this is is there an actor right now that's maybe an up and comer that's right around the status that Matt Damon was at the time that would maybe glom onto this and use this to kind of catapult themselves into a global superstar status for themselves? Like, are there agents with young actors in their late 20s, maybe early 30s, who are like, this is perfect for my client. I got to get this going as soon as the rights are sold?
I'm sure that this will be an absolute feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
So the rights land someplace, and everyone's going to pitch their filmmakers, writers, and all that kind of thing.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could throw out the same boring kind of typical names that everybody does. I could be, oh, this is going to be Glenn Powell, or this is going to be, Tom Holland or Austin Butler, or something like that. But I really don't know. I think it's very early.
Okay.
But I can say, I mean, I don't know for sure that Damon's not coming back. I just suspect that anyone who buys these rights is going to want to start over and do their own thing with them. But Edward Berger is no longer on Bourne. He left. So he is now free and clear to do Bond if he gets that call.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah. Bourne last appeared nearly a decade ago in 2016 for Jason Bourne and Captive Entertainment, which manages the film rights for the Ludlum estate. So it's not just the Bourne stuff, though. It's all of the Ludlum stuff, Jeff. So do you think, like Prime Video Amazon, I guess you could say, has bought the Bond stuff now fully? They can do whatever they want. So is there a studio right now that maybe is looking at this going, this is just baked in IP with multiple places to go with this?
I think that the three that were mentioned were Apple, Skydance, and Netflix.
Right.
Obviously, I think Netflix would be a good home for it. I mean, when you look at what they've done with, The Recruit or The Night Agent, they have they have an audience there for it. So does Amazon, but I don't think Amazon's going to bid on this because of Bond. Like, that's who they're focusing on.
Competing nature.
And I think if Netflix wants to combat that, then they should make a play for these Bourne rights. I just don't know if Universal is going to put up a fight for him. Are they just going to let it go and be like, hey, we had our Bourne, that was Matt Damon, now someone else can do what they want with it? Or do they see the value in this? I don't know.
Yeah. Were you surprised by this at all? Did it feel like it wasn't that surprising that the rights went? Because couldn't Universal have worked out some kind of deal ahead of time before the rights going on? Or is this like a free agent that says, you know what, I appreciate that I played for you, but I want to test the waters a little bit. I want to see what's out there, how much more money I can make, and maybe put myself out there and see what other offers I can get and what more we can do with the Ludlum name. Is this surprising to you that Universal let it go to that point?
It was very surprising. In fact, I'll cop to it. So I was texting this week with Jamie. And with my buddy Jamie, and we were on a top secret mission. We're trying to solve a big mystery. And so Bourne came up, and I was like, there's no way that Universal would let Bourne go. Like, that's not the answer to this. And sure enough, like 48 hours later, they're like, Bourne rights being shopped. Jamie texted me today. He's just like, don't doubt the master. Jamie is the master. He's the brains behind this operation. I'm just the pretty face.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go. That's pretty awesome to hear about that for Jamie, but interesting stuff to hear about all this stuff. I'm curious to see who's going to jump to it, and will they have an overall producer? Kind of like what we've been seeing lately with these big franchises. Are they going to have an overall producer who's in charge of the Bourne franchise?
Can't speak to that yet. But with Skydance being mentioned, this is a great way to make a statement if you're David Ellison and you're coming in to run Paramount.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm coming in now with a big piece of IP. I think that would be a pretty smart franchise play for Paramount. It's just a matter of whether they can compete with the other streamers like Apple and Netflix and their unlimited funds.
You might think this is crazy, and Jamie might think this is crazy as well, but there's a certain creative executive that has alerted us to her slow exit from a particular studio. And she has a track record managing multiple franchises throughout her career. You could do worse than Kathleen Kennedy to manage your Jason Bourne franchise. I'm just throwing it out there. She's going to be available. She's going to be a freelancer.
No.
All right. She's got a history of multiple success in multiple franchises.
I would stop you right there. No.
All right.
Now, but let me ask you this.
Yeah.
He's playing a big villain in a major franchise in a universe for years to come, most likely. Gentleman's name is Nick Holt. Could you see him? Could you see him as Bourne?
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Finally getting a franchise to call his own that he would lead. Hell yes, I could see that. Especially because just about everyone, and I think you could vouch for this too, Jeff, just about everything report I read about people who've seen this Superman ahead of time, they are raving about Nicholas Hoult and the job he's doing as the villain. As you said, going to be the villain in this franchise. There's absolutely a possibility that Nicholas Hoult could slide in here and play this thing and do really well with it, and have a franchise that is solely based with him being the point person. And I think that would be great for him career wise. Yeah, why not?
Do you know why I shot down the Kathleen Kennedy thing, John?
Why? Tell me.
Because I mean, her husband Frank Marshall produced the Bourne movies, so it's not like
so maybe
the move on.
All right, fine.
Anyways,
okay. All right.
What else we got?
No, we'll keep tabs on that. We'll see what happens as that goes forward. Let's move on to one of the titles in our episode here, and that is the Warner Brothers situation, brother. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. We talked about this just last week, I believe, after that report from Kim Masters on Puck News talking about the trouble that DeLuca and Abdi were in. You've referenced it in your newsletter at theinsnider.com about some stuff going on behind the scenes. Is there a power struggle? Are there issues? We read about The Bride not getting the best test screening reports. We read about PTAs getting a bit of a mixed reaction as well. And now we hear today big announcements that Warner Brothers is moving all these movies, The Bride to 2026. They're moving PTAs to more of a possible awards area, and they're moving up Zach Kreger's Weapons. So your thoughts as you hear all of these things moving around? You said, I told you so in your newsletter. So please go ahead. What's your reactions to all this?
I mean,
beyond I told you so.
Yeah, I think it's just obviously that date in the summer before the fall festivals didn't make a lot of sense for the PTA movie unless it premiered at Cannes, which it still could. I mean, that announcement's coming in like 2 weeks.
Probably, yeah.
But to me, it feels like Venice is a safer play for that, and that is late August. So September is still a weird date to launch an Oscar contender, if that's in fact what it is. I don't know that it is, because they need this to make money. This is a commercial play. This is a hugely expensive movie, roughly 150 million. I know Warner Brothers takes issue with that number. Let's even call it 130, 140. Still just very expensive. So their motivation is not to necessarily win awards. It is to make their money back.
Right.
And keep their jobs. So the September date to me just feels like we don't know what to make of this. We don't know what we don't know.
Jeff, they're claiming that it's because they need to put VistaVision into the theaters in order to give a fair interpretation of the movie for people to enjoy. Do you buy that at all?
No, nonsense, gobbledygook.
I agree. That was nonsense. Yes,
complete distraction. Say like The Bride, like that's another one where why do we spend? If it wasn't, I think I called it 100 million, and Warner Brothers took issue with that. Let's call it 80-90. Why are we spending 80 to 90 million dollars on this? Yeah. Also, I mean, Peter Sarsgaard has come out and said that there's big dance numbers in this movie.
That's a musical. It's a musical.
It's not a musical. I mean, I got a note late last night being like, hey, just so you know, it's not a musical. I'm like,
if they're dancing around and doing it to numbers and music, it's a goddamn musical.
Maybe they don't want to position it as a quote unquote musical because that leads people to think certain things. It's a drama with musical numbers. I don't know. But that's part of the whole thing. It's like they don't know what to do with this. And it's just like Mickey 17. I mean, they're kicking it to March, just like they did Mickey 17. Yeah. So they can say, hey, like March has traditionally been very good to Warner Brothers. They used to put big blockbusters and stuff in March, 300, the Batman or whatever. But yeah, it's one of those dates where it's like, hey, they can say, hey, we made a good effort, but we know that this probably isn't going to work. And that's the vibe that I get from The Bride.
But when you factor in the stuff that Kim wrote about in her piece, is this Zaslav giving Abdi and DeLuca like final opportunities to save their jobs? Because Abdi seems to be the point person for The Bride, right? She seems to be the one that's like, if judging from the report, that it's her responsibility to get this thing ready to be put out there. And now they're giving her more time. Like, who approved? Do you think Zaslav is the one who approved these pushes in the end? And these people like Abdi and DeLuca like requested this time. What do you think about this in terms of the who?
I can't imagine why David Zaslav would be meddling in release date stuff. Like that is
right.
He probably have studio heads so that they can run the studio. I mean, you're running a giant conglomerate. I can't believe he's getting into the nitty gritty of release dates and stuff like
But
that.
he could hire and fire them, and I think that's the point I'm trying to
Sure,
make. Is like,
I definitely think that those two are looking to save their necks right
Okay.
now, and that means that they can't have another giant, flop like The Bride, and that's why
Right.
it probably got kicked to 2026. And then they're moving something like Weapons up because I think
Yeah.
Weapons is probably going to work. I've heard I read the script. The script was really good. I've heard good things about test screenings. So, that's why I reported back in December, this movie's not a fucking late January release. I know it wants the IMAX screens, and they figured out a way to give it the IMAX screens. They gave it the IMAX screens for PTA's movie. PTA's movie took the IMAX screens from The Bride. So, that stuff is very important these days. And I understand why. But I think this is just like, if 2025 is the year that DeLuca and Abdi are going to be judged by, then let's make that the strongest year that we can.
Yeah, but fair point. Well, I mean, one of those films though is moved to 2026 with The Bride. So
because that wasn't a strong, one. So it's like, let's kick that can down the road and make this year as strong as possible.
It's an interesting trying to save their butts in that way for sure. Two other movements. Cat in the Hat is moving up its release date for those who are big Bill Hader fans. From March 6, 2026 to February 27, 2026. By the way, Bill Hader playing the Cat in the Hat in one of the best SNL sketches you're ever going to see. And what is the other one? David Robert Mitchell's Flowervale Street is being pushed from March 13th to August 14th on that. So anything to say on these in the movements?
I mean, Cat in the Hat I thought was interesting. It moves up a week to avoid the Pixar movie Hoppers, right? And now it's going head-to-head with Scream 7.
Right,
so that's an interesting battle. I mean, so Scream 7's not going to open number one. I mean, I would assume Cat in the Hat's going to probably play even bigger.
Maybe. I mean, that Mike Myers one did not do well, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that is going to be a hit. I think that's going to work. I mean, Scream 7's going to work too.
Sure.
But yeah, very interesting to see which one comes out on top. Maybe that's our new Barbenheimer. Maybe it's the cat in the ghost face mask. That's what we start calling this thing.
The screaming cat. There you go.
I don't know what do cats eat. Anyways,
milk. I don't know.
Flowervale Street. That one, I'm just getting. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting problematic vibes off of it. That was supposed to come out this May. May in 2 months from now, and now it's being pushed like a year and a half almost. That's a lot. I don't know if it's just that they need extensive VFX work. Obviously, dinosaurs are rumored to be part of the plot in that. And that could also just be an IMAX screen thing. I don't know.
But these movements, again, Jeff, do they seem to indicate? I think I said this on Geek Buddies last week that Warner Brothers is a bit of a messy bitch right now. Is this even more messiness behind the scenes for all the moving around and all this kind of stuff, or is there standard stuff that studios do in these kinds of situations?
Standard stuff in the weeks leading up to CinemaCon. I mean, I thought maybe some of these announcements would be held for CinemaCon, but I think this just allows them to, present their slate without having to, we're making news right now in the moment. It's, hey, we announced these 2 weeks ago, and now it's laid out for all the theater owners.
Do you think they'll have footage? Do you think they'll have footage from these films, even because the rumors were they were initially promising some footage, but now maybe do you think they'll push it or they'll still show it?
No, I mean, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I think that we'll see the first trailer for Weapons.
Okay.
I think we're getting a full trailer for the PTA movie like soon, like tomorrow.
Yeah, next week. Maybe tomorrow.
I don't know when it is. I don't know if it's tomorrow or next week. I'm not the kind of person who's like, the trailer's coming out at this time. I don't give a fuck. We'll see it when we see it. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked cool. I know it's going to be a challenging sell. It's expensive. It's loosely adapted from Thomas Pynchon's Vineland.
Yeah.
But everything that I've been reporting about this movie, it looks like it bared out.
Yeah. What do you think about the mixed test screening numbers or reception to the movie? Does this make you worry about the film? I mean, because this 22-second
test screening audiences are morons.
Okay.
No, I'm not too. I don't even feel like this is like Paul Thomas Anderson's work. Like, lends itself to test screenings. I think that's just more for Warner Brothers edification and for marketing purposes. Like, how are we going to sell this? What do we need to show? What do we need to hide? That kind of stuff.
Right. I suppose if you're a regular Joe off the street, maybe you're not a PTA fan, but I would hope you'd think they'd grab like people who understand PTA movies to give them an idea, but maybe not. Who knows? I don't know what goes on behind these.
They poll people in Arizona, like, "Hey, do you understand PTA?" No, it's just a fucking flyer. You want to come to a free movie during the day?
Yeah, I remember
DiCaprio. Yeah.
Hey, that's right. Standing outside Burbank. All right. Anything more to say on this Warner Brothers stuff? Anything more you want to add?
Not really. I feel like we covered most of it.
Well, let's stay in the park with Warner Brothers. What's the new Superman stuff? I think you wrote about this. Are you hearing more positive stuff? I think it just was released at the runtime. What is 140 minutes or something like that? What do you hear of this Superman stuff now?
I'm just saying, I got a recent test screening reporter from somebody who saw it, and yeah, they liked it. They thought David he delivered as the Man of Steel. They thought Gunn did a good job balancing the heart and the humor, and they said it's around 140 minutes approximately.
Right.
Again, this is like some people don't love it. Some people think it's too jokey, or the tone's off, or they saw the comedy out of context. Some people really like it. I mean, welcome to the movies, folks. There's a range of fucking opinions. I don't know why I'm villainized or out to get James Gunn for sharing someone else's opinion who didn't like it. I didn't make up the opinion. Is you saying I'm only sharing the negative ones? I just shared a positive one. There you go.
There you go. I tell you all the time not to give a shit about this stuff, but it does still affect you. I don't understand. Let it go. Who cares what they say?
Like villainized on the. I mean, you should have seen with the Sadie Sink stuff too. It's like,
but you like being the villain.
You can't complain. Believe me, I know. That's what I just told Mr. Beast when I applied for season 2 of Beast Games. I was like, "Oh, are you looking for a heel? I can do that."
Oh yeah, he can do that. That's for sure. Okay. All right. So I think we should move off Warner Brothers for now. Let's move on to some other stuff that's going on.
They've got a bunch of cool shit coming though, Johnny. They just announced a Jonah Hill movie.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Right.
Cut Off, where it's going to be about like 2 rich kids who get cut off by their parents.
Yes.
I'm all for more theatrical comedies.
Yeah. Right. Because I mean, he hasn't done anything since mid '90s, right?
He directed Stutz, right? That documentary Stutz, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, true.
I thought that was like in my top 10 that year. And then he has another movie coming out this fall called Outcome with Keanu Reeves. And then also today, Warner Brothers got this Sydney Sweeney package where she's playing I pretended to be a missing girl based on a short story that was posted to Reddit 4 years ago by an English teacher in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that you're an English teacher in Massachusetts who wrote a short story and put it on Reddit 4 years ago. And then this dude, Aaron Folby, who's, got a real eagle eye for these kinds of things, is just scrolling Reddit, looking at these no sleep / stories or whatever from that subreddit. It's like, oh my God, this could be a movie. Brings it to other producers, Roy Lee, whoever. They package it together. They get Sydney fucking Sweeney, and then Warner Brothers buys it. That's like the dream. So very cool. I've been reading that short story, and there's actually a couple different versions of it on Reddit. So, but yeah, you can go and check it out. I'm sure they'll change it up maybe a little for the movie. And
Eric Roth writing the script. That's no
joke.
That's no joke. It's right. Sydney Sweeney and Eric Roth. That's a good thing. See, I think this thing, Sydney, for all her doing this stuff, Sydney likes to challenge herself. And I appreciate that with her as an actress. Like, doing these films that maybe not a lot of these up-and-comers who just want to kind of land where they land and get the bigger stuff. She's willing to take on these more challenging roles, these more interesting roles, smaller films, what have you. I like that. She's decorating her resume with a lot of interesting choices. And eventually, when she has that Oscar, that USC teacher is really going to have to eat a lot of crow when she wins an Oscar for Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress, which I think is very much in play, judging from her choices, man.
I think she's a very good actress. I'm looking forward to the Christy Martin boxing movie.
But
I think that in the end, it could be that Madam Web is a blessing, and because it's going to keep Sydney Sweeney from going to do some shitty blockbuster.
Yeah,
and maybe Dakota Johnson has those second thoughts going forward too. They're like, we don't want to repeat this experience.
That's a great point. That's actually a really excellent point. Jesus, what that nonsense. All right. Anything more on Warner Brothers? Did you have anything out of the DC universe? Anything you can let us know that you're hearing? Anything you can say about it before we leave the WB water tower? Anything more you can say about this stuff?
I mean, J. Alphonse Nicholson joined Lanterns today as
Okay.
as the younger version of John Sr.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I thought that was interesting. He's the guy who played Chris Paul in the Clippers series.
Oh, yeah, that guy was good as Chris Paul. I liked it. Good series, by the way. Unfairly vilified, that series.
I agree.
I like that series.
Well, because people are like, oh, look at the Blake Griffin guy. He doesn't look anything like Blake Griffin. None of these people look like any. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to find guys who are 6'10" and can fucking act? Yeah, it's tough.
Exactly.
I don't really have much else on DC that I can think of, but here's a little something that I've been holding for a while, and I've just been, I haven't had a chance to really say anything, but I can tell you that the name of the new lead in Buffy. Remember they're redoing Buffy?
Yes,
Remember
Buffy
that?
the Vampire Slayer. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's going to be Nova. They're looking for like a teenage Slayer, her name is going to be Nova. It's not going to be Buffy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think Buffy would be the mentor.
Yeah, the report said that she was going to come in and mentor the new Slayer.
A little something.
Okay, that's nice. Clip that out, Wiley. All right. All right.
I don't know if the Disney Plus series Nova would, maybe preclude them from doing that.
Oh, that's true. It's a good point. Well, one more thing before we leave Warner, but let's talk about Coyote versus Acme here, Jeff. This is the update on Coyote versus Acme. Apparently, remember the last we left this particular film, it was being screened for people and for companies who were going to pitch Warner Brothers and pay $70 million to get it with no negotiations. Either you pay 70 or you don't get considered. Well, it looks like they've rethought this situation, and apparently Ketchup Entertainment is in negotiations with Warner Brothers right now to possibly purchase this thing for a theatrical release at $50 million. Now, they have the one that's out now, Looney Tunes Blow Up the World or something like that. It only made $3 million over the weekend on a $15 million budget. I think $5 million globally. So, A, are you surprised by this turn in the Coyote versus Acme thing? And B, do you think this makes any sense for it to come out theatrically if this one, the one they have now, is not doing so well?
I feel like this is all part of a larger play, is what I think. So am I surprised? I'm surprised that it's Ketchup Entertainment, because I didn't think Ketchup Entertainment could pull off a deal like this. Like, people are like, where did Ketchup Entertainment even get $50 million?
Right. It's really small films they've done through their history.
Yeah, but am I surprised? No, because we predicted this, John. We predicted this on the show in late December, where I said I predict that James Gunn will use his Superman clout. And again, I don't know if James Gunn was actually the one who pushed this forward or not, but I predict that this Coyote versus Acme will be released somehow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't entirely a shock.
It's $20 million less than what they initially were asking for. That's what I was shocked by, that they backtracked by that large of a number.
What was the tax credit that they were getting, right?
Yeah, right.
Basically, if they're getting a $1 more from Ketchup Entertainment than they would from the tax credit, then you do it, right? Even if you might even take a little bit less than what the tax credit would offer, just so you could placate the marketplace and keep audiences happy and the filmmakers, like if you had to take $5 million less than whatever the tax credit was going to be. I don't know. But I mean, tax stays in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, true.
2 or 3 weeks. So I wasn't surprised to see Warner Brothers finally do something before it had to make a decision. I've heard really good things about Coyote versus Acme, obviously, and not just from the people involved in the production. Right. A lot of people have compared it to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But when I say that this is part of a larger thing, I heard last night from a source, and kudos to comingsoon.net for picking this up in the newsletter, because it proves that they read the newsletter. Okay? A lot of people just subscribe to the free version and they pull the headline off or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Comingsoon.net clearly read the newsletter, because I kind of buried it in there that I was told last night they are looking to sell off the Looney Tunes.
Completely. Warner Brothers, which may explain why they pulled it off Max. Kind of like when you've got a trade coming, you don't play the player who's going to be traded that night. You keep him on the bench. So clearly that seems to be what they're doing here, right?
And that is not, that's not a coincidence, right? I mean, to pull it off Max and then have this deal announced 2 days later, I think these things go hand in hand.
They have to. The timing is very suspicious. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's ketchup buying the Looney Tunes, although I think that would, that could be a good play for them because they can license those rights out all these different places and all that kind of stuff. I just don't know if they have that kind of capital. Maybe they're getting outside investment in order to pull off this deal. I don't know. But it's crazy to think that Warner Brothers would just kind of throw in. I mean, it's not crazy. Given the legacy and the history, it's a little crazy, right? Like that music is so associated with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, John, I have 2 young nieces.
Yes.
They don't talk about Bugs Bunny.
I know, you're right.
They talk about Bluey. They talk, like they have their own set of characters. The Looney Tunes are of another generation. And so if it's valuable and it's not really going to become anything at Warner Brothers, then why do we have it? Why are we hanging on to it? Just because of history? Let's not be so sentimental. I mean, obviously, we know Zaslab's not because he got rid of that Casablanca music, right?
Yes, right. Exactly.
So, they're like, okay, let's try to get something in exchange for this asset that is just kind of languishing that we're probably not going to really do anything with.
Yeah, it seems very clear that they didn't have big plans for Looney Tunes at all. No. And the fact that they were willing to sell off the one that's out now as well and are negotiating for this one, it's clear that they just don't see it as a viable IP for them to work with. I think what you're saying is correct, and that's the problem with people like our age, or I know you're a little bit younger than me, but our generation, we know what Looney Tunes is, right? But as you said, the younger generation doesn't give 2 shits about Looney Tunes. They're out here doing Bugs Bunny, having Bugs Bunny lunchboxing, none of that stuff. So they don't have it, and the voice actors who took over, they're good actors certainly, but not the same magic as Mel Blanc and those lineup of actors. So it's nostalgia for those of us who are older, and that's why we get upset, we get hurt by it. But the reality, the business reality is Warner Brothers doesn't see a way forward with this, so they're happy to sell it off, maybe at a lower rate than they initially would have thought, and then boom, they're done with it, and Ketchup Entertainment can do it. But again, you got to find out who is funding Ketchup Entertainment to make these kinds of moves. That's the next mystery. Put Jamie on that mystery. Find out who is funding, because even Deadline said, we don't know where they're getting this money. And Deadline has reporters to find this kind of stuff out. So Jamie should find out who is funding Ketchup Entertainment, like behind the scenes. Who's the sugar daddy sliding money in an envelope under their door so that they can buy this stuff? Because where are they getting this money? It's kind of shocking, So
I mean, I don't know, the company's financials are, who backs it or whatever. But
right. Yeah. Do you think it'll happen? Do you think the sale will happen?
The sale?
Do you think they'll sell the act? Do you think it's going to happen? Because it's still negotiated, still in talks.
Yeah, I do. Okay. It seems it's just like after, because listen, there's the first report and then there's the follow-ups, and the follow-up seemed very confident that the deal was going to happen. And that's, that's the trades going to the studios and asking, hey, is this true? And them being like, yeah,
it's happening. All right. Well, let's see let's get your
quick. Go to Stephanie Litz. Stephanie Litz says the Heinz family is secretly funding Ketchup Entertainment. That would be funny.
They will get our Looney Tunes back. Well, you have to remove the Warner Brothers.
And yes, my sources were like, just so you know, just because this movie is apparently going to see the light of day, don't expect Batgirl to see the light of day.
No, that's done. That is absolutely sailed, because it's not even part of James Gunn's universe anymore. So why would they even do that? So yeah, it would be shocking to me that would ever come about. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, quickly though, what about the Colin Farrell thing? What are your thoughts on this? A lot of people going back and forth. I saw your tweet. Robert Pattinson should play somebody else in the DC universe. Like, what are your thoughts on this? This has been a lot of back and forth between people saying, how can he play characters in both universes? This doesn't make sense. Very notable. I'm looking at it like, why would James Gunn want to pick one of the stars of Matt Reeves' universe and move him over into his universe? What's at play here? What are your thoughts on all this, man?
I think it's weird.
It is weird, isn't it?
It only backs up, the whole, there's a feud behind the scenes between Gunn and Reeves. I mean, to literally go and take one of his actors. I realize that Colin Farrell is unrecognizable as the Penguin in the Batman and stuff, but we still know it's Colin Farrell.
It's Colin Farrell.
There's a universe of actors. You got to have one of the 4 leads of the Batman.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Not to mention, it'd be one thing if he's like this undeniable movie star. This dude has a terrible track record. as a movie
Well,
star. He's not a movie
point.
star.
Fair point.
He's a good actor. He's a very good actor. He's really grown on me, especially in the last few years with Banshees and I love Killing of the Sacred Deer. But if I laid it out in the newsletter, if you go through this guy's filmography, it's one flop after the other for the most part.
Yeah, and don't give me my wife or my girlfriend doesn't know that Colin Farrell is the Penguin. That's not the point. The point is people know he plays him. He's been on the talk shows. He's won all the awards. He's got write-ups all over the place. People know Colin Farrell plays the Penguin. It's curious, as you said, that James Gunn would pick out one of the faces of the Matt Reeves verse, and you have to say that it is Pattinson, it is Colin Farrell, and it is Zoe Kravitz. Those are the three faces of his Reeves verse, and you're going to pick one out that had their own series, is going to be supposedly in the sequel if that ever happens, and you're going to make him another character in your universe. It's just such an odd decision, man. It almost reeks of a power play. Dude, and I wonder if Colin knows this.
The trades have said, I think it was the trades, Matt Reeves was planning to use Clayface as the villain in Batman 2.
Yes, right.
Now, Clayface is getting his own movie from James Gunn.
Right.
Seems like James Gunn is just doing everything he can to sabotage the Batverse, and he's just like, we're going our own way and doing our own thing, and I'm going to take this from you, I'm going to take that from you. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a very odd decision on so many levels. And also, you're going to tell me there aren't like 30 American actors you can look at before you get to another, you get to a Brit, to an Irish actor. I mean, going from a Brit and Daniel Craig to an Irish actor, there's got to be some American actors who want to play Sgt. Rock who are more age appropriate. I mean, he's almost 50, Colin Farrell. This should be an actor in his 30s,
I even appreciate what James is trying to do by making DC movies at different budget levels and different genres.
Sure.
I like that strategy.
Sure.
But to make Sgt. Rock and Clayface two of your first 4 movies in this universe, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. And I've talked to so many people about that. Producers, execs. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Agreed. Let's get to your Aronofsky story for Cujo. Tell us more about this. Is this happening? Have you heard more about this? Darren Aronofsky to do this Cujo remake. What are your thoughts on this?
I loved the trade that came in and said, well, he hasn't had any creative meetings. Have you ever reported on Hollywood before? They don't always have creative meetings. They fucking make deals that actors get cast without testing, auditioning. Come on. It's Darren Aronofsky. Okay. He's a one-name director. He doesn't need Darren in front. I just say Aronofsky, like Kubrick or Fincher. I've liked or loved all of his movies except for Mother, which I think is terrible.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It's dreadful.
But even Noah, Pi, I know that these, maybe aren't the best movies, but I like them.
The Fountain
is a near masterpiece. The Wrestler's a masterpiece. Requiem for a Dream's a masterpiece. Black Swan's a great movie. I mean, the only thing, and I think he could do a really good job with Cujo. I love the idea of him tackling Stephen King. The only pause that this gave me was man, if Aronofsky is going to do his first streaming movie combined with the release date for Caught Stealing, I am now officially a little nervous about Caught Stealing.
Okay.
I was nervous already with that release date in late August.
Right.
But then him going to do this one, I was like, ooh, what is going on here? But as far as I grew up on Cujo, I watched, as a kid, I loved Cujo, Man's Best Friend, all those kind of killer animal movies and stuff. Yeah. I think that there's a way to do this that can improve upon the original, and Aronofsky's going to knock this one out of the park.
He has that artistic avant-garde mentality, but is able to do it in a way that's consumable by the mainstream, right? Black Swan has a lot of weird shit in it, but it got Natalie that Oscar. It got people to talk about that film. It was accepted by a lot of people. So this could be an interesting take. What is his take on Cujo? Is this a conversation about man versus beast, about honing in on a certain territory? What is the angle that he's going to take that's going to make this such a unique remake? Because of course he can create or direct a fantastic horror film. He can do that in his sleep. But what's that extra Aronofsky oomph that he's going to bring to this? That's going to be interesting. What's his rock monsters from Noah in Cujo? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to know.
He's got balls, John. He killed a baby in Mother. So maybe he's not afraid to kill this kid off in Cujo.
Maybe. That's very possible. But You're gonna have to work really hard to replace Dee Wallace. That's an '80s staple who was a hottie for a lot of us growing up. So
there are so many possibilities, like so many ways that you could go with this. As far as casting,
yeah.
Jamie and I were talking about it earlier this week when I did the story. He threw out an actress's name who I thought would be pretty interesting. She's a little bit older than I had in mind.
Okay.
But she has done Netflix movie before. She is an Oscar winner, and I think she'd be great in a horror movie, and that is Sandra Bullock.
Oh, that's a possibility.
Sandra Bullock in Cujo, because I think that would kind of be cool.
That would work. I mean, my initial thought was Jennifer Lawrence, because that's around the age that Dee Wallace was when she did it back in the 80s. But
in all likelihood, it probably will be someone in their 30s,
Right. But Sandra Bullock is a very interesting choice. It could be a lot of fun going that direction.
I think so.
Could be, because she could be a grandmom, so like that's her grandchild, and that could be an interesting take if she's willing to do it.
Yeah, listen, it's early days. They still need to hire a writer. But I with Roy Lee producing and Darren Aronofsky directing, I think it could be pretty good.
Yeah, and don't forget Jennifer did Don't Look Up or whatever. That's a Netflix movie. What the CGI dog? Yeah, it'll be the same people who did the dwarves from Snow White. That'll be the same people who do the dog for sure. Well, speaking of Netflix, this seems like a perfect segue. Let's get into this, man. Ted Sarandos was giving an interview here to Variety, and he talked about. They asked him about if he's disappointed that Netflix has yet to win a Best Picture. They were nominated for Emilia Perez, and then all that stuff happened, which probably affected the vote in the end. He said, "It's hard for me to say, do they have it out for us? The fact that Ted Sarandos, of all people, is playing the victim card is hilarious to me in this quote. When we've been the most nominated studio for the past 3 years, there's something about the Academy. You nominate the movies that you respect, admire, and you vote for Best Picture for the movie that you love. We have to make a movie that people love." So that's an interesting approach here that he has here, Jeff. What do you think of this? Because, I mean, we've had Mank, The Irishman, Roma, Trial of Chicago 7, Power of the Dog, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Emilia Perez all being nominated for Best Picture but not winning. So do you think Ted has a legitimate gripe, or is he doing a little lobbying the refs, so to speak?
That is a good way to put it. I think there's always going to be a little bit of bias against Netflix until they fully commit to theatrical and get rid of this. Well, we're going to give you a 2-week run. You're always going to be up against it with the Academy. But I think that Ted hit the nail on the head. Again, people in Hollywood, they are more perceptive than they will seem to be or sometimes admit to.
Yeah.
I think this was a rare moment of honesty with Ted saying, we have to make a movie that people love.
Yep.
And what he's not saying there is that we haven't made a movie that people love.
Right.
So,
right.
And I know people, well, I love Roma. Well, I love Power of the Dog. Okay, great. You love them. These are not movies that you would put on your wall.
Yeah.
On the poster. Okay. No one has a Power of the Dog poster hanging their fucking wall. And if they do, run. Roma, Trial of the Chicago 7, Emilia Perez. No. These are, you can say they're good movies, but are they great all-time classics? They are not. And so Netflix has not deserved to win Best Picture, and that's why I haven't come after Lisa Tayback or Albert Tello, because they haven't been given the goods to then drop the ball with. Okay, they've always been trying to win with the second or third best movie, and that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some legitimacy in playing the victim card in that, like you said, voters and people in Hollywood want to hold back the streaming thing as long as possible, want to hold back rewarding it as long as, although Apple TV Plus, we've seen this stuff with Prime Video, we've seen these films, Manchester by the Sea getting the win for Casey Affleck. So we've seen certain things go through. And of course, this year, Zoe Saldana won for Emilia Perez, but not overall. I thought All Quiet on the Western Front was the best picture. It could be arguably the best picture of that year, but you'd be hard pressed to think that's a Netflix movie because it did come out in theaters and what have you. Irishman, I love The Irishman. I think it's a great late Martin Scorsese film. Roma, you could argue, Inarritu, maybe one of the great masterpieces of his career. But what he's saying is correct as well, Jeff, as you alluded to. It's got to be something that's universally loved. And maybe Emilia was on its way, and then all this backlash came against it, and then the tweets came out, and that kind of sank it. So at some point, maybe they're going to find something that works both ways and then put it in the theater a little bit longer because they know that that film has a real legitimate chance to win. So they're willing to break their rules a little bit in order to get more of the Academy on board with supporting them. So yeah, it's sometimes it's not about getting it right off the bat. Sometimes it's learning how to win it and then winning it that is more satisfying. So
I think Netflix will win Best Picture eventually, just like Scorsese won Best Picture eventually, and Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, right?
That's
I mean,
true.
you know, it all happens eventually. It just takes time. The thing is that they're going to stumble upon it. Okay, it's going to be some movie that they don't really have. You know, maybe it's their number 2 awards contender that year, but everyone's going to get behind it and love it, and that's what's going to win. It's never the movie that they seem to like put all their eggs in that basket. You can't engineer this stuff, and that's what I think Netflix is maybe trying a little too hard to do. I think Apple stumbled upon a win with Coda.
Yeah,
you know, like they just bought a good movie, and it happened to go all the way.
Yeah, no one saw that coming. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll keep tabs on that, of course, as we go along. Let's see what. Let's talk about the Tarantino stuff, buddy. Anything to add on this? There's a story in World of Real where Jordan Rumi is writing about this, saying that there was a listing on Production Weekly of Quentin Tarantino's next film starting production in this December, with Brad Pitt, Uma Thurman, and Samuel L. Jackson mentioned for the cast. He posts the list there. He also gives us credit here for the rumor that you dropped that had been going around that for weeks now that Tarantino was preparing to shoot a new movie. So anything more? Do you believe any of this stuff, or is it just a production listing? We shouldn't put any stock into it. What are you hearing from some of your sources about the Tarantino movie?
Shit.
It was on the rundown.
No, I know. I got a text from someone who is visiting in town. He's like, "Are we hanging out tonight?" And I was like, I fucking totally forgot. Tarantino. Okay, here's the thing with Production Weekly. I like Production Weekly. I like, you know, the people who run it. But where is this information coming from? Is this actually information that someone on the crew is submitting to them? Saying, hey, put this listing in. Or is it them, like I said, their Tarantino movie is going to start by the end of the year. And so the guy at Production Weekly is like, untitled Tarantino movie, December, blah, 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 blah. Now, obviously, they had information that I did not share. So I'm assuming that some sort of crew member or whatever put it out there. But it's also like, why would a crew member submit with like talent attached when nothing's been announced yet? I don't know. It's the whole thing is a little weird. Having said that, I have also heard that the lead will be Mr. Pitt. Wow. I don't know about the Uma Thurman and Sam Jackson of it all. I mean, you know, these are regulars. Sam Jackson, obviously. Uma Thurman hasn't worked with him in a little while. But if this is his last movie, I could see him going back to her. Sure. I'm sure that, you know, they've gotten over whatever their issues were. The other thing that I would say, and Jordan Rumi put this in his World of Real write-up, you know, I was like, he sent me that production listing thing. I was like, hey man, you know, do what you got to do. Cause we've been talking about it. I too have heard, and probably from the same source as Jordan, that it's not going to be the movie critic.
It's going to be something completely different.
Yeah. I think he shelved the movie critic. I think that's done.
Do you think he was writing something along with the movie critic? And then when the movie critic didn't like, in the end, did he go like, you know what? I'm not feeling this like I normally would feel it, but I'm liking this other script more. Do you think that was the switching horses midstream type of thing?
Yeah, I think he's got a zillion ideas, like any, you know, good writer. Obviously, he's announced a zillion projects over the years that have never come to fruition. So maybe he just got far down the line with a movie critic and he realized, hey, this isn't really working. This isn't the note I want to go out on. What else we got? Am I going to write something new? Am I going to go back to the folder and pull out one of these ideas and flesh it out? Right. I don't know. I do think that Tarantino will go into production sooner than he has publicly said. Whether that's, you know, this year or next year, could be, you know, the first half of next year as well. A lot of it has to do with talent availability. He's not going to compromise based on scheduling, right? He's not going to be like, oh, the guy I want is off doing some Marvel movie. I'm going to have to go get somebody else. You know, I just, I don't think we're going to have to wait until his kid is 6 years old, right? I don't know how old his kid is, but I don't think we're going to have to wait.
Yeah, he said he was going to wait till 6, but he's certainly not. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that Let's see what else. Oh, Saw 11. Do you want to say anything about the Saw 11 situation? Do you think that is nil and kaput? Do you think this is done? Backstabbing, whatever going on, sinking this, or do you? I mean, because it just came off one of the most profitable installments. Why would you shut it down? What are your thoughts on this story here, man?
It was a little surprising. With the, I mean, it wasn't terribly surprising because there, progress was not being made, and they kept pushing the date or whatever. But I think it's time to reboot. Yeah. I think that there's so much potential in this franchise, and that potential may be a little limited with when you're at number 11, because then people are like, "Oh, I need to see. Do I need to see the other 10?" Yeah, and then that keeps a portion of the audience away. So I think it's time to start from scratch. It was a great chapter to end on. I mean, I know that there are still some dangling plot threads, but like, go out on a high note, Tobin Bell. I wouldn't. This franchise is more valuable to Lionsgate than it is to anybody else. And Lionsgate controls 50% of it. It's a 50-50 thing with Twisted Pictures. So I do expect Lionsgate to to hang on to this franchise. They'll wind up with it at the end of the day. And I think that the move is to just reboot. Yeah,
maybe the Final Destination thing is like a bit of a blueprint or a wake-up call to go in that direction, because clearly there's still a desire for that, because a lot of people
bloodlines. Does John Kramer have a kid? I don't know.
Yeah, right. Why not? Bring back Shawnee.
But there's so many ways to go with this, especially after the whole Luigi Mangione thing. I do think that there is something to that. It was interesting that one of the Saw writers went to school with Brian Thompson, the slain CEO, because he had written a scene involving the head of a healthcare thing, and I forget which Saw it was. I have absolutely no idea as far as Saw, what was what. There's 1 and there's 10, and then there's a whole bunch of shit in between. And number 2 is the Donnie Wahlberg one. That's all I know. 3 is 3D.
You want to get me in a theater to see a Saw installment? Show me 6 billionaires tied at the bottom of a basement who've got to saw a piece of their body parts off to escape. I'm 100% there to see that, in my personal opinion. I love that.
We'll have him wake up in one of those little submersibles underwater. You got to get out, or else this thing's going to sink, and then you're going to get crushed.
Now you're going to bring in that.
That's a good one.
That's a great idea. I agree like that.
Lionsgate. I've been a Saw fan since day one. I've never missed one in the theater.
I love that idea. Holy crap. Even if you get out, you're still stuck in the middle of the water. How the hell do you get out of there? Great points. All right, Jeff. Well, real quick. Materialists and the Terror. Your thoughts on Together and the Materialists trailers dropped this week. Any thoughts on them? A new ballerina trailer as well. Any thoughts on these?
Materialists. I mean, listen, man. I don't think that looks good.
Looks terrible.
I'm just obviously I'm one of these. I'm not a rich guy, right? So when you're literally called materialists, and she's like, do I choose Chris Evans or choose the rich guy? It's like, I'm out, because
what a tough choice.
I don't want to be with. I don't care about this woman who is partially drawn to the rich guy. Yeah. So just the whole materialists, no, this doesn't sound good. And that tweet I thought was very funny, about you're trying to convince me Pedro Pascal is attracted to Dakota Johnson. I think that's kind of right. I mean, this is sort of the issue sometimes. He has we've seen Pedro on social media. I don't think this guy's fooling anybody.
Yeah, everybody knows where Pedro's loyalties lie.
Yeah, we know. Nothing wrong with that. Love Pedro, but
you can play, straight. I just don't buy the premise that those two guys would be fighting over Dakota Johnson. I just don't buy it. So I'm immediately out on that situation. But yeah, this has a whiff of This Means War, the Reese Witherspoon with Chris Pine and Tom Hardy. It has that kind of, without the action, right? But it has that whiff of it. This looks dumb. This looks dumb. 100% looks. Even though I loved Past Lives, I thought Celine did a wonderful job with that movie. this doesn't feel like something that fits for right now.
And again, I've heard the movie is actually okay. I think it's going to be a commercial hit, potentially.
Right.
But I also think that there may be a reason that she took those Marvel meetings.
Yeah, you can only. I mean, look, it's not like I don't think she's struggling for money with the Johnson family, but still, I mean, there's only so many of these daddy O's you can do before you want to see some more zeros on a paycheck. I absolutely understand that. What about the other two? Anything to say on Together? I thought that was a really awesome trailer with Dave Franco and Allison Brie.
I liked it too. I'm trying not to spoil myself, but like,
have you seen it? No,
I didn't go to Sundance, so I haven't seen it. But like that tagline, "Join us," I think hinted at what is in store. I think it's kind of interesting, like a codependency, if you will, about a couple, and there's an added thing when the couple is a real life husband and wife.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that allows for the intimacy, a greater sense of intimacy or whatever. I can't wait for that one. I think it looks cool. Body horror is hot right now after The Substance.
And like good horror, and it seems like body horror, but also maybe like that. Great horror always has that little commentary running underneath it. And it may be a commentary about how much being in a long-term marriage can change you, frustrate you, anger you, turn you into a different person. So there's maybe a little commentary with that, which is interesting because they are, as you said, actual husband and wife. Ballerina, it seems like Chad Stahelski reshot the whole movie because that is a much better trailer than what we saw before from Len Weissman. Did you see that one? What do you think?
I haven't seen the new trailer. Okay. I've seen enough from Bal. I feel like I've been seeing fucking trailers for this for like a year and a half.
That's true.
I don't need to see any more. I do think that Chad came in and basically reshot 60 to 75% of the movie.
It's very
it'll probably do well, likely because they're not hiding Keanu.
If you watch the first trailer and this trailer, it's like two completely different movies. So okay. I think it's very clear.
I'm sure I'll see it next. And she's getting an award at CinemaCon. I'm sure Lionsgate is going to that hard. So it's like I don't need to see all this stuff right now because I'm going to watch trailers for 4 days in 2 weeks.
That's true. Okay, good to go. Anything else on those? Snow White. Did you get a chance to see it or no? Any review on that? No. Okay.
No, not for me.
Yeah, it's fine. It wasn't great. All right, so let's move on to this big story real quick before we get to the questions, Steve. Jeff, you want to talk about VALNET? This report from Umberto, another great report from Umberto over there at the Wrap, breaking down stuff that was going on behind the scenes here with VALNET and how they're lowballing a lot of the freelancers that have written for them. There's a lawsuit in play by one of the freelancers for $40,000 for overtime pay, for benefits, for all this kind of stuff. And, this is a pretty well-known secret with those of us who've worked in this business over the last few years and have heard about how VALNET treats people. So not a lot of surprising stuff for those in the bubble of this business, but certainly people outside of the bubble. There's probably a lot here that's a bit abhorrent to see in their business model, and even stuff that I didn't know about, like the porn stuff. So what are your thoughts on this, Jeff? What do you think of all of this and the reporting from Umberto?
I mean, it was a great report from Umberto. He did a great job on it. I was there for the VALNET days at Collider when they first took over the company.
Yeah.
I really didn't have anything bad to say about them. Like I was allowed to keep doing my thing. But yeah, it got to the point where, like the report says, we take employees who get benefits and we replace them with contractors who don't get benefits.
Right.
So I was a victim of my own success at Collider because I was probably making the second most on staff behind Frosty, just, to be candid, which, by the way, is not a lot for me. Not a lot.
I know.
But yeah, it was probably like, hey, why do we have this expensive guy on staff when we can hire someone who's costs half as much and we'll just post his news 20 minutes later? So, but what hurt about it, so like, we got laid off by Collider with like everybody else, right? It was like Haley left, Goldberg left, Chitwood left, Trumbore left. These people had been around way longer at Collider than I ever had. Right? They fucking built the site, and VALNET just comes in and clears out this great team that Fernandez and Frosty had built, to their credit. And so, okay, fine, done. I'm moving on. Thank you for the severance. I have nothing bad to say. The problem was like, Mance got fired a couple years later over some bullshit fucking red carpet video interview or whatever. They totally fucked him. He didn't deserve it. And I said something defending him, which is why I assume I got on the list. It turns out, I guess I've been on the list probably even since before that. And they blacklisted me. right? And no one tells you when you've been blacklisted. So it's like, I'm sure I even applied to other VALNET jobs after I get laid off by Collider, because there was one point where I'm pretty desperate before I launched this newsletter or whatever. And I'm not even getting, a call back. It's like, first of all, I'm the best thing that ever fucking happened to your company editorially, ever. Okay, I've broken the biggest stories that Collider has ever broken. And I can't even get a fucking callback for some shitty listicle job. Okay, that's because I'm on the blacklist. Now there's 400 people on a blacklist, right? Yeah. And each of them has a little fucking note next to them. So someone showed me the note next to mine. It was like, he blocked Rob Keyes before the Collider acquisition. And he blocked and attacked /film employees. Attacked? Attacked how? You mean verbally, like on Twitter? I sent a mean tweet to Jack Giroux or some fucking dumbass running /film at the time. So you get blacklisted for that? I can't feed my family or myself because I blocked Rob Keyes on Twitter. Let me tell you something, Rob Keyes. Fuck you, dude. Fuck Rob Keyes, okay? He's a piece of shit. He's the editorial director. Big title. Big man, Rob Keyes. You bring absolutely no value to fucking anything, Rob Keyes, okay? So the idea of putting me,
he's got his infinity gauntlet.
Other fucking people out of work because we blocked you on Twitter. What a thin-skinned little bitch you are. If I see that motherfucker, I'm gonna spit on him.
Wow, easy. That's assault. They can get in trouble for that. So you don't want to do that. But I hear you. You mean figuratively?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this was, as I said, there wasn't a lot of surprising ththings because I've certainly had conversations with people in the business who are working under VALNET, and I've heard off the record comments about I asked an editor friend of mine at an outlet a couple of years ago, hey, I might want to get back into writing. How much are you hiring freelancers for to write? And the rates, my jaw dropped to the ground. It was like $25 or $10 an article. It was something horrific that they were willing to pay you for writing a 200 word, a 500 word article.
They're huge, hugely time intensive and labor intensive features that you get maybe 40, $50 for. Dude, you're running a fucking sweatshop over there.
That's essentially what it is. Yes. So
I wouldn't recommend to my worst enemy to go to work for those people. It says nothing about Collider. Okay. Love, I know you have your own thoughts. I love Frosty. I love Perry. I wish them both the best of luck, but know who you're in business with, okay? Because these are bad people.
That's where I'm pulling it out from, right? You mentioned Rob Keyes. I don't personally know Rob Keyes. I don't know if I've ever
met him. Never met him. You put me on a blacklist. I've never met you. Fuck you, bro.
But the rap mentions the recent coming together of Screen Rant and Collider to put on this Hans Zimmer interview with Frosty leading the interview. Here's the thing at the end of the day. Now that this article is out, all of these people who are in these positions of power and high positions in these separate websites, they have to be questioned now. How much of this did you know? How much of this have you been a party to? And don't give me, I have a mortgage, I have a rent. No, if you are posting with one side of your mouth how we need to treat people better, how we need to be more diverse, how we need to make more opportunities, but then on the other side, to keep your job, you are willfully going along with the shitty rates they are offering these freelancers, and you're taking advantage of that to elevate yourself, to move up the company's chain. That's a fucking issue. If you're crowing about this coming together of Screen and Collider, then you're a person who knows what's going on. Now that you see what's going on, what are you going to do to change it? Because sure as fuck, you can't tell other people to change things or make things better or work harder to make things better if you can't even do it in your own fucking house. And I just got to know how many of these people knew that these people were as unsavory as they are. I mean, one of their big accusations from when they were running their porn sites was that a 14-year-old or 15-year-old girl, her rape was being watched 400,000 times. She had to fake an email to be her own lawyer to get them to finally take it down after months of asking. These are the people you're in business with. So if you're okay looking the other way, then please don't waste my time trying to tell people how they should be better in life, because you suck. you fucking suck. And that includes, and I will absolutely say this because I know Frosty's desperate ass to hold on to relevancy in this fucking business. He's done all kinds of unsavory shit to people and said unsavory shit about people, waving his fucking Rolodex in people's face to prove his power. How much of this did he know? This is important. It isn't just going after these shadowy figures behind VALNET. It's also how many of these people were going along with it. That's really important as well. You think of, and I'm not trying to compare them to the Nazis, obviously, but you think of that film, Judgment at Nuremberg, that is about finding out how many of these people who should have known better went along with it for their own personal reasons to keep making money and keep their status in the business. And that's important. So I take this and go, yeah, a lot of this is duh, but now let's go to the next level. How many of these people knew this shit was going on and went with it because they liked getting their ass kissed? They liked the stroke of talking with directors and actors.
This is so... Come on, listen. You have to separate VALNET from Collider and from Screen Rant. I'm not coming at Collider or the people at Screen Rant, okay? I'm coming at executives at VALNET. Okay, I don't think Frosty should have known what was going on. I mean, that stuff happened years and years before VALNET.
But they know what they're hiring people at and the rates they're hiring people at. They're aware of it. Why weren't they pushing back and asking them for more money for these people? Why?
There's only so much money to go around. I mean, listen,
how do you know that?
Frosty there's a budget. I'm sure Frosty has to work with, Collider has to operate within its operating budget. So even we should be paying people more, okay, we can pay people more, but that means you have to assign less pieces. And if you assign less pieces, there's going to be less traffic. And that means,
or you take a fucking pay cut so that you can, so that these people can make a decent wage. Why do you want to save your friends? Either be fully consistent or don't. Why do you want to save your friends? This is truth. You got to tell truth.
Because that's not how life works, John. It's not on Frosty to take a pay cut to pay other people. That's on the VALNET executives to take the pay cut. It's not on Frosty.
I think it's for everybody to take.
I think that you're letting your personal feelings about Frosty interfere a little bit.
Ditto.
This was not a story about Frosty. This is a story about VALNET.
Right, but it extends out. It isn't just about VALNET. It extends out because people have to be willing.
What should Steve do? Leave his baby that he created? I mean, he could go
say, I want to take less money. I want to pay these guys what they deserve. Come on. I can list by name.
Steve's not living in some mansion where he can afford to take a giant pay cut. Like,
I'm not saying that, but do you know how many writers have complained about working with him? Don't give me this idea.
That's the other thing, John. If the writers, they accepted the rate, don't apply to the job and accept the rate if you know what it is. Like, this is your own thing. Have a little fucking self-worth.
Well, BuzzFeed did the same thing. BuzzFeed in their business model. Oh, we lost Jeff. Oops. BuzzFeed in their business model did the same thing. They went ahead. Oh, okay. Hopefully he'll be back in a second. But BuzzFeed did the same thing in their business model, right? They brought in young people to host shows. I don't think they paid them much of anything, but it's like, well, you're getting an opportunity to host shows. It's the same thing here with all of these, not just Screen Rant. Everybody should be questioned under the VALNET window. I'm not just trying to go after only Collider. I think everybody should be questioned who was part of the window of this kind of stuff, because they can't put these things in motion unless they get people in positions of power who are willing to go along with this way of doing things. And that's my overall point. I'm not just coming for Collider. I'm saying everybody, Screen Rant, all of these places, there needs to be questions asked about why you went along with this, because the executives do it, but you've still got to go along with it. They're going to find people who are willing to go along with this. And so they do have blood on their hands, in my opinion. It's not just the executives.
It's like saying, it's like getting mad at the Variety and Hollywood Reporter people because Jay, assaulted a woman with his brother on Nantucket. Penske, he pissed on a woman. So
yeah, but that's not to do with, those guys couldn't have known anything about that. I'm saying, but if people knew,
it's like you're saying, it's like you're saying, oh well, why do the women at PMC continue to work for Jay Penske? That feels like an equivalent.
I don't know. One's business, one's personal outside of it, so I don't know.
I'm saying it's not on Steve to take a pay cut. It's on VALNET to do right by their employees, right? These are employees of VALNET, not of Frosty.
But people who have a voice, who make a lot of money, are the ones who are supposed to go to VALNET and be like, you need to pay our writers more. You need to pay our freelancers more. Stop paying them less.
What if they say we can't? We'd love to pay people more, Steve, but we can't. What is Steve supposed to say?
Show me the numbers. Show me the analytics. Show me what you've got. What do you mean?
But if they show them, so there you go.
Okay, then fine. At least you've got a reason for why you're doing the things you're doing. But it's clear from this article that wasn't the case, Jeff.
I don't know about any of that.
People with a platform need to use their platform, Jeff. That's why one of the reasons you use a platform is to make change. And if you can't make change, then what are we talking about?
Listen, I think it's a different thing as an editor, like as a writer. I've always the job of an editor is to stand up for your writers. Okay?
Yes, right.
But it's different. That's editorially. It's different business wise. That's there are certain things that are even above Steve's pay grade. So I think we're getting a little off track. I think this was a great article from Umberto that could very well affect some change. This could embarrass VALNET so much that they're like, you know what, we do need to change, and we need to change our expectations and our pay rates and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that's what happens here. But this Rob Keyes guy, I'd fucking get rid of this motherfucker, because he has now, that's 400 people on that list that he has alienated. They don't, a lot of them don't know because they don't have the sources to tell them they're on the list. And so how many of those 400 people are spending time every day applying to all those jobs because of all the turnover at VALNET, and they're wasting their lives because no one will be truthful with them?
Wait a minute. You're going after Rob Keyes, who's arguably like way down here on the totem.
No. He is the editorial brand director of VALNET.
So you think he's made every note next to all 400 of those?
No idea, but he is Frosty's boss.
He is Frosty's what?
He is above Frosty on the ladder. So I'm not going to go after Frosty. I'm going to go after the guy above Frosty, and that's Rob Keyes. If you're going to put editorial director, Collider, Screen Rant, I'm editorial director at fucking VALNET, then it is on you.
Mm-hmm.
You decide who writes for these sites, not Frosty.
Oh, what? He absolutely decides in all of that kind of stuff. And Frosty's no fucking wallflower, bro. I mean, I've had my interactions with him. He's no wallflower. He will fight for people and conveniently not fight for people. If you kiss his ass,
does Frosty have any say? Screen Rant?
What's that? No, I don't know anybody at Screen Rant. If I had Screen Rant names, I would be going after them as well, Jeff.
Okay, so you don't need names. You've got Rob Keyes. He does them both. It's Rob Keyes, and they're both underneath him. Collider, Screen Rant.
Fair enough. Yeah, he should be called to the carpet as well. I agree with you. If he's involved in this blacklisting of these writers, if he's involved with gleefully going along with paying these guys jack and these girls jack shit so that he can make his money and keep his money, then he absolutely needs to be called to the carpet as well. I agree with you. I think everybody who is in a position of power at all of those sites needs to be called into question and asked questions, and even on social media, start asking questions on social media. People go after
you can blacklist people personally, right? I'd be like, I don't like so and so. I'm never going to hire so, and I'm never going to work with fucking Nelly Andriva. But to make it a formal list, company document shared throughout, and for blocking you on Twitter, I can't work for you because I blocked you once before the acquisition, dude. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah,
I'm 20,000 times any employee that you have. 20,000 times better.
Yeah, that's fair point. So, yeah, I mean, you're saying one thing, I'm saying what you're saying, but I want to extend it out further than you do. That's the difference in the approach. But we both are on the same page. It's just that I want to go a little bit farther than you do in this whole situation. But I totally appreciate where you're coming from.
Let's go back to movies. I've had enough of dunking on Rob Keyes.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, we had to talk about that one, so we got it out of our system. Thank you all so much. Let's get into some questions. You ready, Jeff?
Yeah.
All right, Dennis Hoffman says, my irrelevant casting and director got me hyped. Mr. Irrelevant casting and director got me hyped. Anything on that, Jeff? I don't know what that means, Mr. Irrelevant.
David Cornsweat. Who got the female lead? Was it?
I don't know.
I wrote it up.
Oh.
I'm blanking. It wasn't Phoebe Dynevor, was it? Who the fuck was it?
Oh, maybe it was Phoebe Dynafore.
No, she got 18. Isabel May. That's who
Isabel
it was.
May. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Isabel May, who's playing Sidney Prescott's daughter.
Oh.
Again, a good idea, sort of, I guess. Like, oh, Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft. But, like, why do we need a biopic of John Tuggle, some random New York Giants lineman? What is this?
Wouldn't you do Brock Purdy? Because Brock Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant. He actually went to an NFC championship, 2 of them. And he went to a Super Bowl. That's what you want to write.
First. So we need to tell the story of the first. Not the most interesting Mr. Irrelevant, just the first. This is a project I don't understand.
Yeah, I agree with you. Max Law says, why no marketing or casting on the Trey Parker Kendrick film? Will this get delayed? Any updates? Well, they said it was coming out on Paramount Plus, right? In April. Did you hear something else?
Did you hear that? Where did you hear that?
And I read that in a number of places here. What do you think?
In April?
You think it's coming out later?
It's supposed to come out July 3rd in theaters.
Oh, right. So, sorry, July 3rd. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Again, I said that poster that said it's on Paramount Plus. I mean, Paramount Plus makes sense for it because it seems like it's going to be a pretty controversial or challenging movie, especially to market for theaters.
Yep.
But it's like, do you do that to these fucking guys who laid the golden goose? Do you send Kendrick fucking Lamar, who's arguably like the hottest name in entertainment, to streaming on your service that, you know, is not exactly Netflix?
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this. I think we're going to get some answers in a couple weeks at CinemaCon. We'll either get a first look at, you know, the title treatment or a trailer. They're going to, I'm sure, talk about their plans.
Yeah. We'll hear about it for sure. All right. Miguel Zayan says, how would you all rate the fan casting of Daniel Craig as Magneto and Ewan McGregor as Charles? Is it possible with their schedules? Any X-Men news? I don't want any former people involved with the X-Men going forward in the MCU. I don't know about you, Jeff, but I don't want any of the former people. Yes, we're probably going to get Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but hopefully eventually we're going to bring in a younger Wolverine, whether it be Daphne Keane or not. I don't know, but yeah, I don't like the idea of Daniel Craig as Magneto or Ewan McGregor as Charles. What are your thoughts on this?
I said I don't mind Ewan McGregor as Charles, but wait, okay. Daniel Craig as Magneto?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'd make a fucking better Magneto than that guy.
Jesus Christ.
Are you shitting me? What, are you fucking kidding me? No. Pass.
All right. Sorry, I was getting McAvoy confused with McGregor. Sorry, I read McGregor and thought McAvoy. My bad. So, yeah, fine. Ewan would be fine. I don't know Daniel Craig as Magneto. That seems a bit of a stretch, yeah. Max Loth, any idea when Eddington will be released by A24 after the con premiere?
No.
I don't either.
I think that I actually thought August would have been a good date, but I wonder if Weapons now affected that with Weapons to August. I could maybe see October.
Oh, okay.
Just a guess.
Miguel Zion also says, just took in that this is the first time Leo is working with PTA. Why do y'all think they haven't worked together before? What is the movie about? Why IMAX? Well, because Scorsese's been working with him the whole time. So how can he work with PTA if Scorsese's been working with him the whole time? Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, why haven't they worked together before? Like, was DiCaprio the first pick for Dirk Diggler?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been a bit, maybe.
And it was just like, this is too like risky for him or something. I feel like he may have been eyed for Boogie Nights, but I don't know what else do we want him to play. Reynolds Woodcock?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
They didn't work together before because they didn't have a role for him, or the timing wasn't right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why IMAX? Because that's the whole thing these days. It's if people are going to leave their homes, then they want to go big, right? If we're going to go spend $25 to see the movie in LA, let's just spend $30 to see it in IMAX.
This division, yeah. Dennis Hoffman, fellas, I agree there's a power struggle with Gunn/Reeves, but I think Gunn will win out with Mike Pam out at WB. Alto Knight's going to tank. Oh, for sure. It's booking. It's a $2 million is the prediction for Alto Knight. So yeah,
and that's a Zaslav one. That wasn't like something that Pam and Mike fought for. Again, I think New Line is going to carry the slate a little bit. I mean, listen, Warner Bros. has a good summer, right? Like Superman, Final Destination, F1.
Sinners.
They have Sinners is risky, and Sinners is a deal that a lot of people I know would not have made.
Yeah.
And like they would have made it, but not at that price, and they wouldn't have given away the copyright. They were surprised Warner Brothers did it because the movie, I think that they're nervous about the international on it, and I think we know why that is. And someone even said Warner Brothers traditionally is very aware of that old adage.
Yeah.
Which is why you don't see a lot of Denzel movies at Warner Brothers.
Oh, good point. Oh, good point. All right.
Again, I'm just passing along the shit I hear, guys. But that is, a stereotype or not, there may be an element of truth to that.
Max Law says, any info on The Governesses by Joe Talbot starring Lily Rose Depp, a project long in development, not sure if it's happening. Yeah, I don't think about it either. Sorry, Max. Dennis Hoffman, Jeff, since Nova seems dead, what's Brandon Sklenar's big role going to be? Got to be something macho.
Don't know. Maybe he's the next Bourne.
Oh, he'd be a great Bourne. Jesus Christ. That is a great choice for Bourne. Yeah.
Choices.
Right about the same time as Damon, too, in terms of his career. Dennis Hoffman, who's pops most off Warfare? Melton, Poulter, Jarvis, or Centineo?
I hope that VALNET updates my little sheet on the blacklist that now says really went after Rob Keyes on the Hot Mic podcast. I need a fuller entry, I feel like, on that blacklist.
I thought we were walking away from this.
We are. Dennis Hoffman, who pops off most in Warfare? I think I'm still under embargo, but I will.
Oh, you saw it.
I will tell you. I was most impressed by Cosmo Jarvis.
Ooh, nice. Okay. I like that idea. I will be seeing it, I think, next Saturday. And they're asking me if I'd like to interview anybody from the cast. So hopefully I will get a chance to interview somebody. We'll see. But
him and Quinn are the guys. I think in that
Cosmo's who I really want to talk to.
And DeFaro, obviously.
Max Loth, I'm beyond excited to see Weapons in August this summer. Hashtag Sneider was right. You got to put the E in there, buddy. You got to put the EI in there, Max. Come on now. You love him so much. Get his name right. Robert Giaquinta says, part 1 of 2. What Netflix spent on Electric State was a better gamble than what Warner Brothers spent on Mickey 17. Not one mention of budget in reviews for Mickey 17, but every review for Electric Dreams mentions the massive budget. Well, because it was $300 million. What they spent on Mickey 17 was what, 130, 170? That's not $300 million. $300 million is a lot of money for a straight to streaming service. I mean, a movie. So that's why you hear about it. Jeff, what are your thoughts on
that? First of all, there were definitely mentions of budget for Mickey 17. That's like all the coverage. I mean, everyone's even saying like people are like going out of their way to talk about how much money this movie costs and how much it's going to lose. So yeah, I don't think that like everybody's just ganging up on Electric State and giving Mickey 17 a pass. And they're different things. They're completely different models. Like one is a theatrical thing and one is streaming. Listening to Bella Bahari on Bellamy's podcast try to defend it, where she's like, Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, the Russos, of course we'd still make this movie today. Well, if you would, then you're a moron, honey. I don't know what to tell you.
You shouldn't be working in Hollywood. Part 2, I wish that critics could just review a movie on face value, not include outside factors. You
have to include outside factors.
It just tells me that this person hasn't read a lot of reviews. Go back and read Pauline Kael's reviews. She absolutely mentions if there's some drama going on behind the scenes with the movie studio or with the actor or with the actress or with the producer or with the director. This has always been a part. We'll go watch old Siskel and Ebert episodes. They will absolutely mention the drama that's going on behind the scenes. It's always been a hallmark of movie reviews from the fucking 1920s to now. There's nothing that's different. You're just more aware of it now. That's all.
And exactly, John. It's like we've been doing this since Cleopatra.
Yeah, yes, since the caveman days.
The troubled movie, is not a new phenomenon. Obviously, Titanic suffered and arrows, and it didn't fucking matter.
Yeah, people forgot.
And yes, when you cost that much money, you have a giant target on your back.
Yeah.
Again, I don't care what these fucking movies cost because they cost me the same thing. $0 to watch Electric State there. I mean, $0 extra that I'm already paying.
Right.
So it's just like I don't know why people get so bent out of shape. I'm an industry reporter, so I'm trying to report on budgets and put on my industry cap and say, was this a good decision? Was this a bad decision?
Yeah.
That's all. But I haven't seen Electric State, so I can't really speak to it or how much.
Took me 2 days to finish that movie, man. It is.
But you gave it 2 out of 5 stars, John.
2 out of 5, yeah, because I like the battle sequences and I like the Mr. Peanut and the Anthony Mackie characters a lot. But everything else, and no, I don't think Chris Pratt was bad. I just think it was miscast. Millie was bad. That was bad, and it was surprising because I love her in Stranger Things.
Can she?
I don't know. I mean, outside of Stranger Things, you have to ask questions outside of Stranger Things. Owen Lanning says, one thing I would have changed in Daredevil episode 4, close up on Fisk's face as he brutally murders. Yeah, we just saw the blood spattering on Fisk's face as we built the city place. Don't do spoilers, Owen. What is wrong with you? People are just seeing it like 24 hours ago.
Doesn't kill Adam.
Yeah, he doesn't kill Adam. Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I haven't seen it yet, so I didn't know if that was a spoiler or not. Close one as he brutally murdered.
That doesn't. I saw the episode the other day. That doesn't happen. What?
All right, just want to make sure. Okay, so not a spoiler. All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would have worked there, Owen. Sorry about that. I thought it was a spoiler. My apologies. Wiley Todd says, have you guys heard anything about the casting for the new Hunger Games movie? Sunrise on the Reaping. Boom, came out 2 days ago. Who would be a good young Woody Harrelson is? Hey, Mitch, I have no clue. Who is a good young Woody Harrelson, man? I don't know. Jeff, do you have someone? Maybe Draco Malfoy? What about that guy? Who do you got?
No comment.
That sounds like you know. Wow.
I think it's early days.
Okay, early days. All right.
They said, nothing has been announced. Not even a writer. They say they have a script, but they're still doing work on it.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no script yet. I don't think that they are casting yet. I've heard a few names for a couple of roles. So, yeah.
Here's a list of names. Tom Glynn Carney, Nicholas Galtzine, Mike Feist. Interesting. Josh O'Connor, Callum Turner. I like Callum Turner. I like Mike Feist. I don't like Josh O'Connor. He could be a young Tucci, maybe. Owen, more love for the show. Thank you, Owen.
I'll give you a name.
Okay, go ahead.
A possibility, just in case it happens.
4 Hunger Games. Go ahead.
Rudy Pankow.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Next.
I like that choice. Owen saying, more love for the show. Thank you, Owen. Appreciate the show. Please never stop. This show belongs on network TV. Stephen A. ain't got shit on the Hot Mic Boys. Oh, I agree. Especially with Stephen A. complaining about LeBron.
It's an unfair world. Stephen A. Smith gets $100 million. I can't make $100,000. I'm the Stephen A. Smith of fucking movies.
Big Bang OT Forces, Percy Jackson showrunners making new Power Rangers. Yeah, there's a new live action Power Rangers possibly in motion is what they're saying. So, yeah, we'll see. That could be good. Could be a lot of fun. Matt Sister McCall, favorite romance movie. Mine is Audition in 1999. Bound. What's your favorite romance movie there, Jeff? Do you have one?
Ooh, I don't know. Is Angus a romance movie?
Could be. Sure. Eternal Sunshine's mine, obviously.
Brokeback is beautiful.
Brokeback is good. Louis Carrizales says, what happened to Day of the Fight? Where can I watch this movie? And have you guys seen it? The trailer looked amazing. I thought Jeff had seen it. Where is Day of the Fight, Jeff?
Last fall. I don't know if it's not available on VOD. If like that's like Louis been searching for it and can't find it. It may maybe take a while. It's such a tiny distributor. I don't know what the deal is with it, but I hope that you're able to track it down somehow because it really is worth seeing. And Michael Pitt's terrific. Jack Houston did a great job.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. There's no place IMDb has that it's streaming. So yeah, you may have to do some research to find it for sure. Bing Bang OT4, when will new Star Wars studio head take over and could they scrap Simon Kinberg's upcoming trilogy? Good luck with that. Hoping they develop a KOTOR movie or series. Probably the end of the year, Jeff. What do you think? Or Celebration,
yeah,
maybe?
I think it'll be closer to the end of the year. Could they scrap Kinberg's trilogy? I mean, they could do anything, but I don't think so. I feel like a lot is riding on that trilogy.
Yeah.
I have no idea as far as Knights of the Round Table movie or series go. The only thing I can say about Star Wars is that Mandalorian and budget figure that was going around, because it was tied to the California tax thing.
Yeah.
That is an incorrect budget.
Higher or lower?
The real budget is significantly higher.
Oof. Wow.
Again, I don't care. These things are supposed to be fucking expensive. But yeah. They did not make the Star Wars movie for $166 million.
I'm not surprised. And also for...
It's 320.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they stepped on Kathleen Kennedy's toes by killing that Simon Kinberg trilogy. But then again, I mean, it's going to be interesting because she's still going to be executive producing it. So.
She's still there, exactly.
Yeah. So
even when she leaves, she's going to be producing these movies. Green
says, can you explain the benefits sources get from independent insiders? Why not just work with large publication reporters? I'm curious, not trying to offend. I mean, I have my thoughts, Jeff. Do you want to go first on this?
I can tell you. Because large publication reporters do what they are told.
Yeah.
Okay. If they have a piece of news and they go to the studio and they say, hey, I'm hearing this. And the studio says, listen, you're not wrong, but we'd really like you to wait for the deal to close. They'll wait for the deal to close most of the time.
Yep.
And I understand that. It's a long-term relationship sort of thing. But then there are parties, interested parties, whatever it may be, who maybe want an announcement out there. And they're asking the trade people, when are we posting this? And the trade say, the studio won't let us go with that. We got to wait another week. And they're like, well, I really need this out there. And they're like, sorry, there's really nothing I can do. Well, then you pick up the phone and you call the fucking Insnider, because the Insnider doesn't call the studios to say, can I do this? Can I have your permission to say today is Thursday? I looked out the window. It's Thursday. I'm posting it. Goodbye.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's the other side of it, is that the large publication reporters, they are depending on their salary to fund their houses or pay their mortgages on their kids or live a certain lifestyle. So if the studios tell them not to publish something, they're not going to publish it, because they also want to be the ones hosting that Actors on Actors, or they want to be hosting a Q&A, or they want to be hosting whatever. So they don't want to cause any waves with the studio or with directors or producers or actors.
So guys not at the trades anymore. I mean, obviously I have the skills to be at the trades.
Yeah.
I have breakfast tomorrow with 2 former coworkers. So it's not that my coworkers hated me and couldn't wait for me to leave the building. Right. It's that I thought I had a job to do at Variety, which was break news by any means necessary to serve our readers. But the truth is, that's not what the trades are interested in. They're interested in serving their advertisers, right?
Right.
So the more I ruffled those feathers, the more it was like, we love you, Jeff, and you are good at your job, but you're fucking up. People aren't advertising this month because, you ruffled these feathers. So we got to let you go. Well, I don't have advertisers. You know who I work for? You! I work for you. I work for the reader, and that is why I have a great newsletter.
There you go. And we have a great show. Max Law says, will the Edward Berger project, The Barrier, actually get made? Described as Interstellar meets Top Gun, Austin Butler attached. That's so way down the road. I don't even think of that one yet for Berger next.
I heard that was fake news when it was announced, and that Butler was not really attached.
Okay. There you go. Sewer Dave says, might be wrong, but did Jeff ever mention a dino movie that was hoping to compete with the upcoming Jurassic Park? Ewan McGregor was attached. Jeff, you'd heard that?
That's Flowervale Street.
That's the Warner Brothers one. Right, exactly.
They just picked it to next summer.
Yeah. Jay Barrett Mash, can't wait for the PTA trailer. I've also almost finished a rewatch of every Disney animated movie. What are some of your favorites? Great show, guys. Oof, Jeff, do you have any favorite? I'd be shocked if you have any favorite Disney animated movies. What do you got?
What do you mean? Of course, like classic Disney animated movies.
Sure. Go ahead.
I mean, The Lion King is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
True. You want me to go back deep?
Pinocchio is incredible.
All those movies are great. I mean,
that's why you don't talk shit about them on a red carpet. If you're about to star in a remake of one of them, you leave them alone and let people enjoy them.
Yeah. Lady and the Tramp I really liked. What's the other one?
Rescuers is good.
I actually really liked Oliver and Company.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, I agree with Jeff. Lion King, Little Mermaid, certainly those. I like Tarzan and Hercules myself personally. Those are on the rotation in the Rocha house. 34 Virgo says, will we see Ghost Rider, Mephisto, and Spider-Man, and many names for the character? Who is SS? You mentioned as his villain in the film. I paid good for Disney. This all I don't know how to make heads or tails of this, man.
I have no idea really about the Ghost Rider of it all or the Mephisto of it all, and names for the character. I don't know. Who is SS? You mentioned as his villain in the film.
I don't know.
I mean, there were a lot of good guesses. Yeah, I mean, I think that the person I was thinking of was the most common response.
Okay.
If you check that thread. And I think that if it's a female villain, right, I can say that this actress is coming off a big show. So it makes sense that she'd be looking to level up, I think.
There you go. Matt Sinister McCall, love movies that disturb me like Requiem or Eden Lake. There's a couple of gross movies I won't see. Most disturbing movie you've seen or had to turn off? Oh, Bone Tomahawk for sure. Fuck, man. I was watching again the other night on Pluto, and I turned the sound down on the body ripping scene, and then watched the rest of it. It is a damn good Western, but that scene fucks me up, man. What about you, Jeff? Any gross movies that you've turned off or most disturbing?
I mean, I've seen a Serbian film, so I've seen it all. I mean, growing up, I had to turn off Evil Dead as like a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
The original. I needed a break there. That was intense. Dead Alive was pretty goopy and gory. Again, this is when I was a teenager. These days, it's the stuff like a Serbian film. I'll tell you, this week, man, I went down a weird rabbit hole on the other day, and I listened to this serial killer, Donald Parker Ray, who used to abduct women and keep them as sex slaves for 2 or 3 months. And he would play a tape, an audio tape for them that was like 45 minutes long. Yeah. When they first came to in the sex dungeon. And I listened to the whole thing, and I regret it because it was one of the most fucked up things I've ever fucking heard. And I'll never get some of those thoughts out of my head ever. Don't do it. I know a lot of you are going to go and do it. Look it up. Don't do it. Trust me.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Mike Joyce, hope it's not some right winger behind Ketchup Entertainment. No, we're not buying up Looney Tunes. That doesn't make any sense. Devontae Brown, just read. Huh?
I don't understand. Who cares? Who cares?
What are they going to do?
Ketchup Entertainment votes for Donald Trump. Does that change? I don't understand what that changes.
Devontae says, I just read breaking news. How is Universal losing the Jason Bourne rights? We talked about that. Thought Edward Berger was making the next one. Can part 6 still happen? So we talked about it. If you want to hear more of what we had to say about it, go to the front of the episode. Sharad. Oh, sorry, Devontae. Go to the front of the episode. Yeah. 34 Virgo says, think Gunn's ego will destroy DCU before it starts? No. Much later, but it will happen.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Superman, I think, is going to be a hit. It's going to work. So, he'll get things off on the right foot. It's just a matter of how do you follow that?
It'll feed his ego even more, which is where usually the mistakes come. Jay Barrett Mash, any word on Shane Black's Play Dirty? I know it's been plagued with problems / recasting, but I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Nice Guys, so I have hope. Jeff, do you have hope?
I haven't really heard much about Play Dirty. Who the leads in this? Do we know?
I'm looking it up right now.
But I'm not a huge Shane Black guy. He is a very specific
Mark Wahlberg and Dermot Mulroney, Thomas Jane, Rosa Salazar. Those are the 4.
That's a no. I do not have high hopes for that one. And I'm just like, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Nice Guys. These are 2.5-star movies for me out of 4. I wouldn't call either one of those like good, no reservations.
Why is Lakeith Stanfield in a this is an odd cast? Keegan Michael Key, Tony Shalhoub, my brother Nat Wolff. Interesting.
I mean, that's he needs guys who can do some comedy, right? That's Shane Black's thing.
Yeah. Are people going to Mark Wahlberg movies anymore, though, man? I mean, do you want to show you the box office for the Mel Gibson Mark Wahlberg movie? It wasn't pretty.
That was not good. But if you can get back to the Mark Wahlberg of like The Other Guys or some of these movies where he has a little comic edge to him, I don't know, maybe.
All right. Greg says, if Gunn and Reeves are supposedly feuding, then why is Reeves producing DCU stuff with Gunn, and why did Gunn oversee Penguin? Gunn did not oversee Penguin. Where do you get that nonsense from, first of all? And second of all, you might be surprised that Hollywood people work with each other even though they don't like each other. Shocking. You do that in your job. So why would it happen in Hollywood?
Why is Reeves producing DCU stuff with James Gunn? Oh, yeah, I think I know. Money. Money.
Yeah. Guys, I swear, I love you guys, but sometimes you act like this is a fucking nursery school and everyone's on their best behavior and everything. This is egos. This is
can't stand each other throughout town.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. Mike Joyce says they should reboot Saw with Mads Mikkelsen as Jigsaw.
Would you like to play a game?
I like that. I kind of like that. DC DUI champ. Hey Jeff, do you take Snoop requests? Can you use your super sleuth power? A scoop request, I guess maybe. Can you use your super sleuth powers and find out when Paramount is releasing Star Trek Strange New World season 3? They're being very quiet about it. Jeff doesn't care about Star Trek.
I can ask, sure. I mean, does it matter? Like, you're gonna see it when you see it. I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask, sure, DUI champ, but
yeah,
it's not really a specialty in that corner of the universe.
Yeah. And Max Loft Nightmare Dream sequence in the Aronofsky remake. Feed me Cujo, feed me Cujo, feed me Cujo. There you go. Yikes. Cowboys
go ass to ass with another dog.
That scene. Cowboys fan 92. Hi guys, happy Thursday. Thoughts on all these new Disney announcements? By the way, breaking news: Blake is invoking the Me Too law to try to throw out Baldoni's defamation lawsuit. I did not see that. I did see Ryan Reynolds trying to get out of it though. Oh, Ryan.
I can tell you, people around town, they are so baffled at how this is still going on, and why they continue to fight and file motions and keep themselves in the news for negative reasons. Everyone is sick of this. Ryan Reynolds has definitely hurt himself.
Oh, 100%.
Understand you got to stand by your lady and everything, but they definitely have come out looking worse for everybody.
I mean, the fact that Ryan wants to get himself removed from the lawsuit because he's like, I was only joking. That's essentially what his defense is boiling down to, is nonsense.
It's like, well, if he believes it, how can it be defamation?
Exactly. 34 Virgo, give your best thriller and action movie coming in 2025. Man, you guys, I don't want to say it.
I mean, I can give you two.
Go ahead.
Thriller. I'll just name a movie I've already seen, which is I really think you guys should keep an eye out for the Riz Ahmed movie Relay. I think that has such a clever hook using the New York City IP relay system. I think that's such a great hook for a thriller, and that is why I have been talking up that writer. I think that that Hollywood needs to hire the writer of Relay more. For action, I mean, fucking give me Tom Hardy and Gareth Evans Havoc every day.
I'm in for that one. I would say The Accountant too. I'm in for that one. Thunderbolts. Yeah, Mission. Yes, absolutely. And there's one coming up soon that I thought I had, but then Mission Impossible, as you said. What's the other one? Oh, well, I lost it. I think I lost it here. Where was it? Nope, I don't see it. Oh, Warfare. I say that's a thriller film. War film as well. C Black, any Marvel news? Jeff, probably not, right? Any Marvel news?
Come back to me.
Okay. I'm trying to get us out of here in the next 15 minutes. I'm working hard. Anthony Belcher, any Spider-Man 4 update or X-Men updates? Jeff, have you heard anything?
I mean, we talked about Spider-Man 4, and I've all but spelled out than what I've heard. And again, I don't know if that's legit or not. I think with Spider-Man 4, they probably went to a big name.
Yeah.
Maybe Anne Hathaway.
Ooh.
And I don't and I think that she turned it down or whatever, and then they went down the list, and yeah. 1 second. See if there's anything else. Nah.
Okay. Steve McTee says, sending my support, gentlemen. Thank you, Steve. Another great show. Can we get some more Spider-Man 4 crumbs? Sorry to be that guy. Thanks. I think we just did, Steve McTee. So thank you very much, buddy.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
It's all timing, y'all. Wayne Edwards, I'm joining late. I'm sure all the topics were hot. Yes. Sending some support. What is that Superman book behind your right shoulder, John? By the way, Crimson Tide is such a good film. Kind of timely, unfortunately. Yeah. Where is it?
Over there.
It's right here. This is Superman Year One from Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. This is one that I value very deeply, and so I put it up here because Superman's coming out. So that's my way of reminding people, hey, Superman's coming out. All right. I'm Too Fly Cam says 6 billion. Can't wait for the rebrand. Sees LOL. Oh yeah, the Celtics.
Pretty crazy. I mean, obviously these evaluations are going up and up and up. But yeah, the fucking Suns sold for 4 million. Yeah, the Celtics are gonna sell for 6.
Yeah, the Clippers were 2. I remember when that was a big deal. Haskell, it was like 10 years ago. It's not even that far ago. Haskell 420. Sup, guys? Okay, F all the drama. Let's get into the real drama. Who you got for your Final Four picks and NCAA champs? Jeff, do you even watch college basketball?
Both of us are like, yeah, all you. No, I really don't give a shit. I used to care about the tournament.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, I don't know anything about these teams. I can fill out a bracket. It's just guesswork.
Yeah, you drop once you drop off, it's hard to get back on the college.
I haven't watched a second of the tournament yet. I don't.
Yeah, a big shout out to the McNeese State who beat Clemson today and destroyed apparently 22.5 million brackets in the ESPN bracket because all of them had Clemson over McNeese State, but 1.2 million people didn't. So they're still alive. Who knows by the end of the night how many are still alive? But I've got Duke winning the whole thing. I think Cooper Flagg, I think the refs are going to give him all the calls, and he's absolutely going to win this whole thing. I'm Too Fly Cam. The DC drama is breaking my heart. These stories and characters are worthy of the royal treatment. Jeff, any news on Star Wars Celebration announcements? We're still a little far out, though, Jeff. Have you heard anything? Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah. Alan Smithy, what's up? R.I.P. Wings Hauser. Yes, mostly known for small side roles, but he was in tons of TV. He passed this week. Also, will you watch Coyote versus Acme in the theater? Thanks. First of all, Wings Hauser, like the king of straight to DVD action films. I used to rent his shit from the video store on VHS all the time. Sad to see him go. Jeff, do you know Wings Hauser, and are you gonna see this in the theater?
Yeah, I actually watched Vice Squad a few months ago because I had that song Neon Slime that he does on my phone. I remember I downloaded Neon Slime as soon as I saw the movie.
That's awesome.
I didn't realize though that that's him in The Insider.
Yes, yeah.
Take that smirk off your face. That's who Bruce McGill is talking to in The Insider. Is Wings Hauser. That means you don't talk. And who knows? And anyways, yes.
I'm sure he was happy to be in a Michael Mann film like crazy.
Yeah.
Kyle Wilson, hey y'all, what movie is your most anticipated in-theater experience you want to see in July with a full audience just to see their reaction in July? Okay. What's coming out in July, Jeff? Here we go. Divine Soldiers, the Trey Parker movie, possibly if it gets in theaters. Touch, To Give or Not to Give, Superman, Fantastic Four, Smurfs. Those are the choices right now, Jeff. I would imagine
a movie that is slated for July, even though I don't know if it's actually coming out in July. I think we'll get some clarity in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that is, what are you waiting for? I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Nice.
I don't know if that movie's actually going to come out in July. We haven't seen a trailer yet. It's a little early.
Are they all going to get along? A lot of rumors about it.
I would like to see that with a big audience because you got to see horror and comedy are the genres that you got to see with an audience.
I think superhero as well, but that's me. Stephanie Litz, Wheel Time, Season 3, Episode 4 was incredible. Anyone watching? I am not. Jeff, are you watching? No. Khalil says, hey, Jeff and John, should that leaked audio prevent me from seeing Magazine Dreams? I'm kind of conflicted. Well, obviously do what you want to do. The audio is from 2022. He claims to have changed, but it's pretty brutal to hear the terms of him taking her by the neck and slamming her head into the ground, bro. So, I think it's a personal decision.
I mean,
Jeff,
was found guilty. So like again, so now we just have heard him admitting it.
He was found guilty of a different thing than what is on that audio tape. That was from a different incident with him and Jabari. Yeah.
Listen, I think that was not a good relationship for Jonathan Majors. I mean, I can separate the art from the artist. So if I hadn't seen the magazine Dreams 2 years ago, I would absolutely be seeing it tonight. Not even a question. And I wouldn't think twice about it.
I'm seeing it this weekend if I can, for sure.
So it's an incredible performance in a not great movie.
Yeah. But I mean, these people need to call them out. I mean, Sherry Shepherd crying. Come on now. Sidney Hogarth.
Yeah, that was some bullshit. I mean,
right? I mean,
because he needs black women to come to his defense. That's the whole thing.
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And because he choked out a white woman, I guess it's okay. But if you choked out a black woman, would you be okay with the situation? That's my problem with that.
I mean, even him asking, because Angelique at Variety, who's a very good journalist,
I love Angelique.
And he's like, she asked him about black women and everything's like, well, what do you think of me? And she's like, well, I'm conflicted. That audio came out like an hour before her interview with him.
Yeah.
I thought she did a good job.
I did too. I like Angelique. She's no joke. She's not rebellious like us, but she does it in a much more like within the construct of the mainstream approach. And I like that she's willing to go there, man. Sidney Hogarth, Dead Alive. Was that the Peter Jackson film, Jeff? Love that film. Definition of splatter comedy horror. Don't always agree, but respect to you both. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the one that I was talking about. That was I just remember so wet and goopy and gory. I was, probably like 13 or 14 when I saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on horror, so like I don't really get too grossed out with that stuff. It's more the disturbing shit like a Serbian film, just like really, a lot of rape revenge stuff is tough.
Human Centipede. I Spit on Your Grave.
Right, I Spit on Your Grave, yeah.
The original. Doug Developer says, Rocha, watch Adolescence. It will fuck you up. Yeah, I hear great things about this show. We were waiting until the weekend to watch it.
Okay.
So,
fair enough. What have you been doing?
Yeah, because it's a Brit show, so we're already in as Anglophiles, but we wanted to wait till we had like a really good chunk of time because we've been tearing through the Karen Reed documentary on Max, which is exceptional. Highly recommend that Karen Reed doc. 5 episodes, 42 minutes each. Watch that thing because the new trial.
Is that a screener, John?
No, it's out. It's out. It's on Max. They released it. You got to watch it, bro. It is excellent.
Adolescence is amazing. It's the best show I've seen all year, and I have to say it's even better than The Pit, which I think is terrific. Wow. You should all watch The Pit if you haven't. But Adolescence, 4 hours. I watched it again this past weekend. I was a mess. It is so powerful. Give it all the Emmys.
Yeah, I'm on a Stephen Graham weekend because after that I'm gonna catch up on 1,000 Blows. Cowboys fan 92. Finally, I've got a hot take when it comes to Snow White box office. I'm being real when I say it's making more like 80 to 90 because fans outside of the film news world who love the story will go not knowing the PR draw. No, that they factor that into the predictions, and it's still predicting at 50. I don't think it'll get 80 to 90, especially because the reviews from the people who weren't at the LA premiere. The reviews have come out and absolutely decimated that movie. So it's Jeff, God damn it. I used to push back on people who said that, but now being on the outside, it's very clear. So many people come out of those premieres and are like, this is the greatest live action Disney film ever or top 3. And then you watch it.
It's making excuses, right? It's that or, I mean, everyone's, and I understand this impulse, trying to find something nice to say about it. So,
right.
It's they want to be invited back to the next one. That's what it's all about.
That's so sad. That's so fucking sad.
Right.
Shelf presence.
It's people just write for their peers and for the publicists. They have forgotten the audience. I'm telling you, this show, John, you and I are for the audience. My newsletter is for the audience.
Yes.
The trades, that is not for the audience. That is for the industry.
Right. Yes. 100%. And for the sweet, soft, middle of the road people who don't want to cause any trouble and believe all doe-eyed, believe all of the puff pieces that are written in the trades about all their favorite creatives and creators. They're all just wonderful people. There's more going on, people. Shelf presence. Is E. Klein's Armada dead? I don't know anything about
it. Was it ever alive?
Okay.
That's like a development title. I mean,
yeah,
I haven't heard anything about that since the day it was announced. Not one peep.
Okay.
I didn't get far.
Okay. Kyle Fielder says Havoc releases April 25th. So are we getting a trailer soon? I'm sure we should, right?
I hope there isn't even a trailer.
Wow.
I would just like to see Netflix just fucking drop shit. What, like, did the trailer for the Electric State really get people to like watch this movie? I mean, don't you just need the title, like the tile blasted in your face when you open the app?
The Electric State from the Russo brothers. Watch this. Basically, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand that with a trailer.
Yeah.
We're going to show you the trailer. You're going to watch it on the internet. You're going to watch it on your TV, on cable. And the whole point of it is to get you to go out, leave your home, and to go to the theater. Yep. But if what do you need a trailer for if you're just going to watch whatever is on the app, whatever they're offering you, you know?
Yeah. I've watched so many things on Netflix without even a trailer. Agreed.
Out there now.
Kyle Fielder says, do you think Apple will release Mayday with Ryan Reynolds in theaters or Fountain of Youth directed by Guy Ritchie or The Lost Bus? I hope so.
It's just, I mean, no to Mayday, no to Fountain of Youth, yes to Lost Bus if it is an awards contender. I've heard really good things actually about Mayday.
Okay.
I have not heard the greatest things about Fountain of Youth. I mean, to me, on some level, man, Guy Ritchie, I don't know. He's lost a step here and there. But Lost Bus, I have high hopes for that. And if that is going to compete for Oscars, then Apple will need to put it in theaters.
Good point. C Black, hot take. I have a feeling Fantastic Four will make $1 billion. If it's great, it's a good chance.
That is not happening. That is a very hot take, and that is a false take. But good luck.
Good luck. Ewok says Young Guns 3 is filming this fall. Any details?
Oh, shit. Get out of here.
They all died. What are we talking about?
Dude, I loved those movies growing up as a kid. I was a huge fan of Young Guns 2.
Oh my God. What?
I loved those movies as a kid.
Young Guns 2 was not better than Balthazar Getty and Christian Slater do not get you across the line. That first Young Guns film, Jack Palance was
Those are my guys, dude. No, you see,
come on.
One of the first movies I remember ever like seeing for like my birthday party. I was such a big Christian Slater guy, and I remember my babysitter, this girl Natalie. She was a huge Balthazar Getty girl. We definitely watched that a few times while she babysat me.
He's a cute. He was a cutie back then. All right, let's hit these Streamlabs real quick and we'll get out of here, Jeff, real fast. Mark says, Jeff, you mentioned in your newsletter that sorry, I have to take off my eyes are dilated. That you've.
Close your eyes. What do you just?
Jeff, you mentioned in your newsletter that you've heard good things about Chad Powers. Elaborate on that. Could this be a Ted Lasso situation? They even share some of the same writers like Jamie Lee. Anyway, thanks for the A+ content every week.
I really haven't heard anything besides it turned out good, and I think that Hulu is excited about it, as they should be. I mean, they've got Glenn Powell, one of the biggest movie stars, you know, in the kind of thing that I think people want to see him in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mark says, and speaking of Glenn Powell, also known as Little Tom Cruise, when will Huntington be released, and have you heard anything on that?
We talked about this. Yeah, we did. Okay. I'm going to guess October.
There you go. Go back and find that, Mark. Fantastic 314 says, showing support for the hot mic. I've always wondered how much grace directors like P.T. Anderson, Fincher, and Scorsese get with budgets when they don't make much at the box office. Well, it's also factoring like, are these films going to be for awards? Because there's something that you get from that you can't get at a box office return, right? So it's like, I think that's always mixed into the equation. What do you think, Jeff?
I mean, you get, obviously with Leo, they're like, okay, if you bring us Leo, we can, bump up the budget big time.
Right,
DeLuca goes way back with Paul Thomas Anderson. DeLuca, I think, was running New Line when Boogie Nights came out.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
I don't really think that anybody should give Paul Thomas Anderson that much money.
I agree.
As great as he is, but that is the whole thing, right? Where Richard Rushfield in The Anchor's like, well, if you're going to give somebody $130 million, why wouldn't it be Paul Thomas Anderson? Why should it be someone lesser than him? He's one of the great directors.
I just don't think he needs it. I don't know why you give him that much. He's better without it. Jeffrey says, hey, guys, Alex from the Cosmic Circus reported that Charlize Theron is going to be in Avengers Doomsday. Have you heard anything about this? And if this is true, does this affect Raimi's Doctor Strange 3 since you reported he's going to direct that film? Did you report that he's going to direct that film?
I mean, I'd heard that, yeah, that
okay.
I mean, they haven't announced a director for it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that will still happen. I think it maybe got kicked down the road.
Okay.
But I don't know why they wouldn't bring Raimi back. The second one was hugely profitable.
Yeah, $975 million. It's true. I hated it, but I know people loved it.
But yeah, as far as Charlize coming back or not, I don't know why one thing would affect the other.
It makes sense.
There's a zillion people in Doomsday, so I have no idea who's in or who's out.
It's not going to be a shock to see her in Doomsday. Doug DeVilla says, if Gal Gadot spent years training under Stella Adler or Strasberg, can she become a good actress, or do you feel she is a lost cause? Well, they're both dead, so she can't train under them. Maybe she can find that one role to change her mediocre at best narrative like Jessica Biel did with The Sinner. Yeah, but that's TV, right? Jessica's never really kind of gone theatrical and been great, but certainly TV.
Well, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let's leave all this shit aside. I'm going to talk to Johnny the actor. Sorry.
All right.
Can it be taught?
Say this again.
Have you ever been in an acting class and you saw someone on day one who was a shit actor, and after they did the acting class, by the end of it, they were a great actor? Or is it just a natural, innate kind of thing?
I think yes. I think great teachers know how to teach aware actors how to deliver technically good performances that will get them work. But I don't think you can be a great actor if you don't have it within you, talent-wise, from the beginning. There's a great line in Chariots of Fire. I can't put in what God's left out. I've remembered that line since I was 11 years old. You can't put in what God's left out. And I think some people are born with the ability. It doesn't mean they reach the top of the chain. It doesn't mean they get the right trainer or teacher and get there. But there are people born to be great actors who are right now accountants or doctors or working at the local Walmart, but never had the breaks go their way. And there are inherently bad actors who technically deliver decent work and can keep working. My God, TV's filled with them. With Gal has the movie star looks, but she's only occasionally good. And like Wonder Woman being one of the greatest examples of it, but she gets found out all the time. And so it is an interesting situation. And that I went off on that star walk-up. That was just insulting on so many levels that they gave her a star. It's not that she isn't. Huh?
We didn't talk about that, and I promised that we would.
Okay, sure. Let's talk about it.
What has you so upset? This is standard par for the course. Someone even reached out about the text, and they were just like, every studio does this.
Yes, every studio. No, not every studio does this. And I hate when people do generalities. Like, I had a friend of mine text me, 90% of the people are, but you have no idea if 90% of the people had their star bought by a studio. You have no idea. You have no idea. You do not know. But it used to be the Walk of Fame used to stand for people who had a legacy, a years-long legacy in entertainment, delivering quality work for a long time. That's what it used to stand for. The most recent stars, I would argue that there aren't many that would be with the lightweight resume of Gal Gadot. You can tell me Jeff Bridges didn't deserve his star on the Walk of Fame. You think Katy Perry didn't deserve her star on the Walk of Fame. People said Donald Trump. The Apprentice was a huge show. That was a massive show on NBC, 4 seasons. And the fucker became president twice. So he deserves a star on the Walk of Fame, whether I like it or not. Gal Gadot's delivered one good performance in Wonder Woman, the first one. That's it.
Do you think that is what the board, like the Walk of Fame commission talks about? Like, they're like, well, she was good in Wonder Woman, but everything else she sucked in. They don't give a fuck. They're like, is this person famous? Does she belong on the Walk of Fame, and is someone going to pay us to put her there?
Right, but as an actor, do you have the shame? Do you have a little bit of maybe shame or a little like self-awareness to be like, you know what? I haven't really accomplished.
You think that she's going to turn this down and be like, I don't belong here?
Yes.
You're insane, John.
That would win her so many points and credit to be like, look, they offered it to me. I didn't want to do it because I haven't earned it yet. I want to earn my name on that Walk of Fame. But she thinks she did with that comment.
What if she never earns it? What if she gets into a hit by a bus tomorrow and is never in a movie again? And that was her chance to have a star of the Walk of Fame. She blew it because she didn't think she earned it. Don't be silly. Of course,
welcome to life. Welcome to life. People die all the time with plans in motion. My father got cancer before he could enjoy his retirement. Life sucks. Life sucks. And so, but the situation here is she doesn't say that though. Her speech was like, a young girl, if you work hard, you can achieve this. Like the studio paid for it. What did you achieve? The studio paid for it. So there's a shamelessness here that I think is.
That should have been the speech. Well, guys, thank you for the star. The studio paid for it. Thanks for having me over today.
Exactly. Yes. At least
what you say. How many times do we say this, John, about when morons and junkets ask actors so-and-so? What do you expect these people to say? Of course, she's going to give an inspirational speech about being a little girl from Israel.
I don't know. There's a different speech you could have delivered that would have been aware of the situation. But
stop sending questions because we got to wrap up this show.
We got to go. We got to go.
Yeah, whatever questions are in, we'll answer. We'll do our best to answer them. But stop sending in questions.
It's a good point. Fantastic. Favorite movie line? Mine is he wasn't that big when he started, but he ballooned up nicely from Back to School. The hot mic rules. Jeff, do you have a favorite movie line real quick? No. Okay. You got to go. All right. Lala, you guys are the new Siskel and Ebert with your banter. And I mean that with the highest compliment.
The juice is worth the squeeze. The girl next
There you go. Jeff, can you please dig up some dirt on Fast 11? The series is my guilty pleasure. All right, Jeff,
I'm very much trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with that franchise because I have no fucking idea.
Good point. Ewok, the Young Guns 3 news is legit. Confirmed to film this fall. Emilio Estevez is starring, directing. John Fusco return to write the script. Yeah, I knew it was legitimate, but I still think it's a dumb idea.
Old guns, baby. Old guns.
Yeah, old guns, exactly. Is he going to do his old man voice? Hey, back in when I was... Yeah, Michael, did you guys watch Magazine Dreams yet? I thought it was good, but it's going to be hard to separate the actor from the film. Yeah, it's all a personal taste.
It is a tough... but when you think about what he did and then like the part and everything, again, that's why I think this whole thing happened. I think that he was fucking hopped up on steroids. I don't know why he doesn't just admit this. This seems like the number one thing to say. Sorry, I got addicted to steroids filming this movie and I lost control. My bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did Rocha ever finish Atlas on Netflix? I don't know what Atlas is.
The Jennifer Lopez movie. I never watched
it. No, hell no. Kyle Wilson, there's a very real disconnect with most studios, most artists and audience who consume their art. Yes, certainly it's been the narrative for the last few years. And Stephanie Litz, okay, can I have your Wheel of Time screeners? No, you cannot. Stop giving money.
I actually can't give you the Wheel of Time screeners because the Amazon screeners are on the Screeners app that is tied to, I think it's tied to my Collider email. I can't log into that app because I'll never be able to get back in.
There you go. All right, Jeff, let's wrap it up. We got to go. You got to go. Thank you so much to everybody. Thanks for the lively chat, the Streamlabs super chats. Jeff, where can they subscribe to your newsletter and follow all the stuff you talk about, brother, all week?
www.theinsnider.com, guys. It's worth it. And if you need a discount, not want a discount, but if you genuinely need a discount, because, hey, I'm still in this one-bedroom apartment in Koreatown trying to get out of here. But if you need a discount, I can swing it.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
You have to submit your bank account and your statements, and then he'll decide what your discount is.
But no, you do need this code, and the code will be Milo's. Milo's is the code this time. Hit me up with Milo's, and you will get the discount.
Thought it'd be fuck Rob Keys, but all right, Milo's is good. All right. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Please subscribe down below and hit that like button. Hit those like buttons, please. It's important. And leave your comments down below. We'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of The Hot Mic. Peace.